couple inches on your gun? Watch Ynnep-Chan on Slayer Sunday. Like, comment, and subscribe to Ynnep-Chan. You could win 1,000,000 donuts. You could.
Hello everybody and welcome to Scribble Stream Overtime. I just got out of work. I just got out the bath. I'm clean. I ate some spaghetti and I am ready to draw maybe for about an hour or two. This ain't gonna be a long stream. I got work again in the morning and I get to walk to work in a winter storm, so that's gonna be fun, or right before it hits, I think. But either way, that's gonna be fun. Yay! Anyway, hi everybody. Welcome to the Scribble Stream Overtime. Blah, blah, blah. Yeah, I already said that. Let me say hi to everybody. Hello, Bobbit Worm. Hello, Damn, my dyslexia. Hello, Cola Coca. Blech. I know how to speak. Hello, Botrix. Hello. Apparently, everybody else is lurking right now, since it says there's quite a few. Anyway, how you guys doing? Did you have a good week? Tell me something good. This has been a crazy goddamn week for pretty much everybody. I'm like, weird, horrible events in the world going on aside. Oh God, sorry. If you hear me hiccuping and jolting in random moments, it's because I have this electronic muscle stimulator thing going on my back right now. Because I've got pinched nerves out the wazoo. So I got this thing set to, what do I have it set to? Steady up and down motion on my back right now. This thing's great. It's called a TENS muscle stimulator. I have a lot of like neuropathy issues and basically just I don't want to say acute chronic pain. There's a lot of people with way worse chronic pain than I have. I have acute chronic pain. I'm relatively healthy, so it's not so bad yet. God help me. Anyway, but yeah, this thing's helping a lot. I get a lot of pinched nerves and crud, so this helps. I'm going to set it to cupping now. Yeah, look this up sometime. If you work a physical job or even a desk job and you get like achy, look into a TENS electronic muscle stimulator. These things are great. My niece got me one for Christmas and I love it. So yeah, if you randomly hear me kind of burping, hiccuping, and jolting, that's what that is. I'm not having a seizure on stream, I promise. I hit the wrong button. Oh my God. Okay, so it accidentally came unplugged from my back earlier and I had to replug it. I forgot to turn it off first. And I got straight up jolted it. I screamed and scared the cat. Never done that before, so that was kind of terrifying. That hurt. I got zapped. But this thing's like, I have it set pretty low, so it doesn't have enough, like, I think even full power, it doesn't hurt more than, like, wearing a shock collar or whatever. So, yeah, at least there's that. Anyway, though, I am here, I am queer, I am fucking high. I hope you guys are having a good night. Like I said, this isn't going to be a super long stream. I'm just going to draw some stuff. I'm going to start drawing some stuff. And, oh yeah, I guess I got a little bit of a mini announcement for the channel. Most people who follow me know me for, like, Lisa stuff these days. I'm going to take, I'm planning on taking a short break from doing Lisa stuff. Not out of burnout, not out of people harassing me, nothing like that. I just, I want to make some Poppy videos again, man. People have been asking for it on the channel. People have been asking for a couple of years now for more Poppy videos. They were loving the Kato alerts coming out weekly, but it's like, like I said, I only have so much autism and time to go around. So I think I'm purposely going to put some of my Lisa stuff on hold for a little bit. And work on trying to get at least a couple Poppy videos made and put out. Hopefully you guys like that. It'll be fun doing the voices again. That's kind of the funnest part. It's just yapping as the characters and just freeballing that. So that'll be fun. I think it will be, at least. Let's like checking something. Also, hold on, something cool happened. Hold on. A user by the name of, oh crud. I'm trying to find their name. Hold on. You might, okay, hold on. Okay, Shell's Voices did a, they did a fan dub. They did a fan dub of my fan dub. The Poppy Come is Still a Goat, they did a fan dub on it. Here, I'll link it in chat if you guys want to check it out sometime. Hold on. But yeah, they credited me and everything, so it's fine. I get permission. There you go. Yeah, if you want to check that out at some point. They did a fan dub of it, and it's like, it's cool. It's adorable. I'm proud of these kids. Anyway, so yeah, that was cute. What else could I talk about today? I have no clue. I'm so gosh darn tired, but I wanted to draw and chat with you guys a bit because I am working so darn much these days that I never have time to actually stream or do anything like this anymore. Like, hopefully I will soon. But yeah, I just work a lot. So yeah. Sorry, I'm checking something out here. I'm surveying the area. Looking for boys in my area. I don't know. I don't like boys that much. I like old men with big titties and chest hair. I don't know what I'm saying anymore. I'm very tired. If you can't tell, I am so goddamn tired. My cat is yapping back there. Anyway, thank you all for coming out. I've been your host, Ynnep. I'm just playing. Dump truck asses. Hell yeah. Yeah, let me switch to my other thing-malingo-dingalingo here. Hold on. My Duolingo. Man, I'm actually a little bummed out about TikTok getting taken down. Like, I don't use it really. But damn it, that's where I follow this guy that's a chicken farmer. That's where I look for memes like, I don't go on TikTok really. A lot of people, like, that's their main thing they like. They like TikTok. I only go on, like, once every 5 or 6 months. Mostly to look at really silly memes. And to keep up with this chicken farmer that talks about raising chickens. And he is just adorable. He's actually a Texas, Houston area guy, I think. Like, that's mostly what I go on TikTok for, is to look at memes. Kind of like how Vine used to be. I use it like Vine. My cat is digging to try to get under that blanket. Yeah. Like you said, so far it's about to be banned here in America, meaning you guys will probably have it banned too. And I'm like, that sucks, because like, as mindless as it can be, sometimes that is people, like how a lot of us are like YouTube heads. That's their thing. Some people, that's all they like, is just looking at silly TikToks or following people that like just make stuff like that. So my sister finally came to terms with the fact that she's probably also autistic, as well as my niece, is seeing other autistic people talk about their stuff. That's literally how she's like, oh fuck, maybe I got that too. I'm like, yeah, I was pretty sure almost everybody in our family had either ADHD or autism, but I didn't want to be the one to say it. Me and my niece definitely, our dad definitely, my mom, I think she just had undiagnosed ADHD or something. But yeah, nah, I'm pretty sure my sister's got that tism too. I think we all just like it's like kind of genetic, so I think we just all rolled the genetic dice and it all ended up neurodivergent of some neurodivergent. Sorry, my brother. I don't think he's autistic. I think he's just straight up a fucking sociopath, like born without empathy and stuff like that. Like he's different. Like, I think we just all sadly lucked out and got neurodivergency, but in different types in our family. But it's like, either way. But yeah, that's how a lot of people came to terms with that kind of thing in themselves, is through TikToks. That's also where I look for some recipes every now and then. So it's like, man. I mean, I'm sure something else will take its place. A lot of people are going to that Red Note site right now, and liking it. But it's like, man, I don't want to download another app to only use once every 3 months in binge session because I want memes. Man. But yeah. Maybe someone will buy it or something. Who knows? I don't know. To be honest, I subscribe to the crackpot or whatever. That, like, there's a lot of other sites that use our data and spy on us way worse than TikTok did. I think it's truthfully because they got sick of a certain not real army posting their war crimes proudly, and people being like, holy crap, y'all are evil. I think that might have been one of the deciding factors. People, yeah, they can't let the propaganda ever stop here. That's the thing, is every country's got propaganda out the wazoo, but Americans are stupid enough to believe a lot of it. It's like, goddamn, we believe our own propaganda so freaking bad. It's like, God. But yeah, enough of that topic. How about we switch over to the drawing table? Okay, here we are. Okay, that didn't hurt so bad. Ow. Anyway, I'm going to be drawing today. So I held a poll on my channel, on my Twitter channel, whatever, asking who do you guys want me to do a disdainful version of next, and I put like a couple of characters, and people wanted to see Bo and Henry Wyatt. Excuse me. That's who they wanted. So I'm like, hey, yeah, I can do that. I can do that. Let me pull up a reference of Bo and Henry real quick. Excuse me one sec. Bo Wyatt. I kind of had an image in my head of what these guys would look like for a hot minute, but yeah, they're from Lisa. Girl, you gotta actually play it sometime. Get in on this autism. Like, it's one thing to watch it, playing it is very different. It, like, God, it hurt me. Alright, hold on. You guys can see my screen? I forgot. Yeah. Hey, ain't no rush. It ain't going nowhere unless they start banning Steam next. Alright, let's see if they got Henry, too. Yep, there's Henry. Hold on, I'm getting him. Henry doesn't get as much screen time as Bo does because he's technically already dead when he shows up. Ellie might like this one because she's a big fan of Bo. Yeah, that's him and his brother. Yep. Yeah, Ellie Cupcakes is a big fan of Bo over there. And there's Henry. He done died and became a worm. He done became the worm. Yeah, but like, even if you don't know Lisa that well, Bo's got a nice he's got a nice design him. But I'd say at this point you probably know the lore of Disdainful more than you do the actual canon game. I'm just getting this like side crap out of the way here. Yeah. Yeah, Bo's a big old stinky boy. I like him. Probably smells like rusty metal and all of that. There we go. Put him right next to his brother. Now, Jesus Christ, look at that boy. Now I might as well get the other half of Bo in here. Hold on, let me get him. Well, they don't have him with no background. Damn. I was gonna say put both halves of him in there. Because the rest of his body's off somewhere else. Alright, yeah, there we go. I got the boy. Aw, some people have drawn some cute fan art of them. Alright, anywho, okay. Yeah, look at these boys. I don't check. Do, do, do. Boop, 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 boop. Sorry, we're just typing out things. Do, do, do. Here we go. So, yeah, this is Bo and Henry. Now, oh, god dang, I just dropped my earbud. Oh, wait, it went between my legs. Okay, it's fine. It's fine. Crisis averted. It's right here. Alright, so they're disdainful versions. I know a lot of people, because Henry here is supposed to be the talented brother before all this happened, most people had canon him as the older brother. Meanwhile, I personally see them as the him as the little brother that's just happens to have more talent, and him as the older. Okay, so here are my stupid ass personal headcanons. Okay. Sorry, back is my back is like vibrating from this muscle stimulator going. I got it set to like this mode where it's like shocking the shit out of my muscles. Holy shit. Okay, anyway. Now my personal headcanon for these motherfuckers. Okay, pen. This guy. Autistic. Yeah, I'm not even gonna try to spell it right now. Autumnston. I see him as the older autistic brother who's got a very specialized type of talent to his ass. Meanwhile, he's the younger, more well-rounded brother. That's my personal headcanons from them. I haven't thought much else other than they remind me of the, what are they called? The Yamada brothers, I think. Hold on. Make sure I'm saying their names right. Yamada. When I first heard about them being a music duo brothers, the first thing that came to my mind is the Yamada brothers. They're musicians. So, yeah, even though their name's Wyatt, is it the Yamada brothers? God dang it, hold on. Are they the Yamada brothers? Yeah. Takashiro Yamada and Shinya Yamada and Ryusuke Yamada. They're basically a instrumental musical band. They're really cool. Anyway, though, yeah, that's what I thought of when I saw these guys. And like I said, I might be completely wrong with some of my headcanons, but it's fine. We're having fun here. So my headcanon for them is that they are both Japanese, even though their last name is Wyatt. It doesn't matter. They could be Japanese American. It doesn't. But yeah, basically because I'm a fan of the Yamada brothers. I like their music, and I see them playing the guitars and stuff, and I just think Yamada brothers. It's the Yamada brothers, but this time they're the Wyatt brothers. No, not the Mario brothers. So yeah, that's my rough inspiration for them. Hold on a sec here. Okay, so alright, let's see. First off, we need to get their shape. I mean, not everybody knows about the Yamada brothers. I mean, they're famous in their own circles. Kind of like how, like I said, like if you're not looking for the Yamada brothers, you might not know the Yamada brothers. They've been in a lot of things, but it's kind of like you'll like just certain bands. You hear their music in a lot of things. They're in a lot of things, but you just don't know who they are sometimes. They're not like super public and in social medias and all that shit from what I've seen. But yeah, nah. Like I said, it's like fucking Tolly Hall or Will Wood. They're amazing artists, but ain't nobody know who they are unless you I mean, they've been around for a while. Like, let me see. How long the Mata Brothers been around? Um, the brothers were born in the 70s. I don't know when they're born and formed. I just hear their music every now and then. I gotta find something by them at some point and send it to you as things. Now I play it here on stream, but but I don't know if this is a manga based on them or this is just happens. Because I click Yamada Brothers and put it in Google search engine, and I either see the musicians or I see a manga with three brothers. That they could have a manga based on them. I really don't know. But yeah, like no, they're mostly instrumental. They're mostly instrumental from what I've seen. Um like think of like traditional Japanese instruments combined with a bit of rock sound. That's kind of them. They're cool though. I think you'd actually dig them for like some ambient jammy vibes. They're pretty cool. All right. Well, I'm going to start drawing. But I'm going to play an audiobook while we're at it again, so you're not just sitting here in silence with me. Because y'all seemed to like it last time. Alright, the one I got pulled up is The Inn of the Two Witches, a short story by Joseph Conrad on the Neural Surfer channel. Oh, that music's
The
not
Inn of
copyright.
the Two Witches. A find. Joseph Conrad. This tale, episode,
I gotta turn his ass
experience,
down
call
just
it
a
how
little.
you will, was
There we
related
go.
in the 50s of the last century by a man who, by his own confession, was
Yeah, if it's
60
too loud,
years
I won't be able
old
to hear
at
my
the
own
time.
thoughts, and it's supposed to be back.
60 is not a bad
There we go.
age, unless in perspective, when no doubt it is
I'm also eating
contemplated by
candy,
the
so.
majority of us with mixed feelings.
Alright, so let's see. We
It is
got
a
the boys
calm
here.
age. The game is practically over by
Now,
then.
what kind of
And
shapes to
standing
work with
aside,
here?
one begins to remember with a certain
Boy, you got a
vividness
long
what a
neck.
fine fellow one used to be. I have observed that by an amiable attention of Providence,
Okay,
most
let's be
people at
generous, say
60
his shoulders
begin
are
to
right
take
about
a
here.
romantic view of themselves.
What the fuck?
Their very failures exhale a charm of peculiar
This
potency.
boy is shaped
And
different.
indeed, the hopes of the future are a fine company to live with. Exquisite.
I'm trying to
forms,
figure out your shape
fascinating
here,
if you
Bo.
like, but, so to speak,
Unless his head's right
naked,
here and this is
stripped
like...
for a run. The robes of glamour are luckily
I kind of
the
want him to
property
be a
of the
long-necked
immovable
freak, to be
past,
honest.
which, without them, would sit, a shivery sort of thing, under the gathering shadows. I suppose
me
it was
see
the
here.
romanticism of growing
I'm looking at,
age
like, other
which
art
set our
of,
man to relate
Bo
his
Wyatt.
experience for his own
Like
satisfaction,
canon
or for the
artwork
wonder
and
of
models.
his
I'm like, what's going on
posterity.
with this boy's neck?
It could not have been for
What
his
that neck
glory,
do, Bo?
because the experience was simply that of an abominable fright. Terror, he calls it. You would have guessed that the relation alluded to in the very first lines was in writing. This writing constitutes the find
What you
declared in the
vibing
subtitle.
with here, Bo?
The title
Let me see
itself
that neck.
is my own contrivance, can't call it invention, and has the merit of veracity. We will be concerned with an inn here. As to the witches, that's merely a conventional expression.
So I don't
and
think
we must
anybody
take
else
our
really
man's
draws
word
them
for it,
much
that it
about their
fits the
mask.
case.
Like I
The
said, you're
find
gonna
was
need
made
one
in a
version of
box
them.
books bought in London.
Ah,
in
here
a
we go.
street which no longer exists.
It's like, oh
from a
man, where to
second-hand
start?
bookseller in the
You know,
last
I might
stage
start
of
with Henry.
decay.
I think he'll be
As
easier.
to the books themselves, they were at least 20th.
All right, let's see here.
And on
Henry's
inspection,
got this
turned out
little
not
face
worth the
going on
very
here.
small
He's a
sum
cutie.
of money I dispersed. It might have been some premonition of that fact which made me say, but I must have the box too. The decayed bookseller
All right, let's
assented
see
by
here.
the careless, tragic gesture of a man
I might,
already doomed to extinction. A litter of
Henry.
loose pages at the bottom of the box excited my curiosity, but
Hello
faintly.
there,
The
Hunter.
close, neat, regular handwriting was not
Goddamn,
attractive at
like
first
that
sight.
font messed me up.
But in
I know
one
it's
place,
Hunter's
the
the cup.
statement that in AD 1813
But,
the writer was 22
ma'am,
years old
I
caught
thought it
my
was
eye.
Hunter asked the
2
cup.
and 20 is
My
an
dyslexic
interesting
ass
age
over
in
here.
which one is easily
Hello
reckless
there,
and
welcome.
easily frightened. The faculty of reflection being weak and the power of imagination strong. In another place, the phrase, "At night we stood in again," arrested my languid attention because it was a sea phrase. Let's see what it is all about, I thought.
I'm
without
trying to make like
excitement.
disdainful
But it
versions
was a
of Bo and
dull-faced
Henry
MS,
from Lisa the
each
Painful.
line resembling every other line in their close set and regular order. It was like the drone of a monotonous voice, a treatise on sugar refining.
I don't know what I'm doing
dreariest
with this pose.
subject
I'm
I
just
can
kind of
think
having fun.
could have been given a more lively appearance.
Yeah, we
In
got an
AD
audiobook going.
1813, I was 22 years old, he begins earnestly, and goes on with every appearance.
God,
of
I haven't been
horror,
22
horrible
and
innocence.
over 10
Don't
years.
imagine,
God dang.
however, that there is anything archaic in
That
my
is
mind.
so fucking weird to think. I
Diabolic
have not been
ingenuity in
22 in
invention, though
over
as
10
old
years.
as the
Jeez.
world is by no means a lost
Jesus,
art.
I am
Look at
old.
the telephones for shattering the little peace of mind given to us in this world, or at the machine
Man,
guns
we
for letting
old.
with dispatched life out of our bodies.
What the
Now,
fud?
a days any blare-eyed old witch, if only strong enough
I've
to
been a
turn an
legal adult.
insignificant little handle, could lay low 100
Oh
young
God,
men of 20
have I
in
been a
the
legal
twinkling of an
adult
eye.
longer than I've been a
If
child?
This isn't progress.
Yeah,
Why
I think
amend?
so.
We have moved on.
Let me do a
And
quick
so you must
calculation real
expect
quick.
to meet here
I'll,
a certain naiveness of contrivance
I'm bad at
and
math.
simplicity of aim appertaining to the remote
as you saw
epoch.
from me trying to
And
play,
of course, no motoring
fucking
tourist
Iron
can hope
Lung.
to find such an inn anywhere now. This one, the
Hold
one
on,
of
I'm
the
doing a
title,
calculation
was
real quick. Hold
situated
up.
in Spain. That much I discovered only from internal evidence, because a good many pages of that relation were missing.
Okay,
Perhaps not a great misfortune.
This
after all.
of the as of
The
this
writer
coming
seemed to have
year,
entered into a most elaborate
I will be
detail
right at
of
the
why
50-50
and
mark of
wherefore
how many
his
years I've been
presence
a
on that
legal
coast,
adult versus how many
presumably
years
the
I've been a
north coast
kid.
of Spain. His experience
Because
has nothing
18
to do
times
with
2
the
is
sea, though.
36. I'm
As far as
35.
I can make it out, he was an officer on
I'm
board
about
a
to be
sloop of
36.
war. There's nothing strange in that.
And if, like, back in the
At all
spring.
stages of the long
So I will
Peninsula
officially be at the
campaign,
stage where I am
many of our men of
50-50
war of the
been
smaller
adult
kind
versus
were
being
cruising
a
off the
child.
north coast of Spain.
So,
As risky and disagreeable
long,
as
actually,
stations
I'm
can be
already
well
at that
imagined.
point and or
It looks
past
as
it
though
if
that
you go
ship
by
of
the
his had
age
had
of
some special
considering
service to
stuff in
perform.
Texas of being
A
17, but
careful
I round everything
explanation
up
of
to
all the
18 or 20.
circumstances was to be
So I'm like,
expected from our
I was
man.
definitely not an
Only,
adult back
as I
then.
said, some
I
of
was
his
definitely
pages,
not an adult
good,
at 17.
tough
Oh,
pages
hell
too,
no.
were
Even at
missing,
18 and 19 and
gone
20,
in
I don't think I
covers
was
for
anywhere near an
jam
adult.
or in wadding
I was
for
a
the fowling
stupid-ass
pieces of
kid
his
up until I
irreverent
was like
posterity.
22. I'm
But it is
still
to
a
be seen
stupid-ass. What
clearly
am I
that
saying?
communication with the shore
But
and
yeah,
even the
goddamn.
sending of
I'm old.
messengers inland was part of her service, either to
Woo!
obtain intelligence from or to transmit orders or advice to
Though I feel better
patriotic
now than I did in
Spaniards,
my 20s, at least.
guerrilleros, or secret juntas of the province. Something of the sort. All this can be only inferred from the preserved scraps of his conscientious writing.
All right, let's see here.
Next, we come upon the panegyric of a very fine sailor, a member of the ship's company, having the rating of the captain's coxswain.
Did y'all just hear my
He was
cat?
known on board as Cuba Tom.
Because she said hi.
Not because he was Cuban, however.
Hi, Mira.
He was indeed the best type of a genuine
And
British
she
tar of
say that with
time,
her chest.
and a man of war's man for years. He came by the name on account
Look
of
at
some
this
wonderful
boy.
adventures he had in that island.
Whoop.
In his
I'm
young
not over
days.
his shape, but now that I'm
Adventures
looking
which
at
were
it.
the favourite subject of the yarns
That
he
boy
was in
got
the
some
habit of
shapes
spinning to his
going
shipmates
on.
of an evening on the forecastle head.
All right, here we
He
go.
was intelligent, very strong, and of proved courage. Incidentally, we are told, so exact is our
Let's
narrative,
give
that Tom
Henry
had
over
the
here some
finest
fucked up hair.
pigtail for thickness and length
Hi,
of any
Mira.
man in the navy. This
Oh,
appendage,
yes,
much
baby.
cared for and sheathed tightly in a pauper
Oh,
skin,
okay,
hung
I hear
halfway
you.
down
Yes,
his
you
broad
are
back to the
heard.
great admiration of all beholders,
You want in my lap?
and to the great envy of some. Our
I'm
young
trying to
officer
pick you
dwells
up.
on the
Keep
manly
wiggling.
qualities of Cuba Tom with something like affection.
Come here. Oh,
This
God.
sort of relation
You're like
between
slightly too
officer
far
and
for me to
man
reach that
was
well,
not
baby.
then very rare.
Okay, I got her.
A
The
youngster
pussycat
on
has
joining
gotten.
the service was put
She
under
is
the
in
charge
my
of a
lap.
trustworthy seaman who
Hi,
slung his
Miracle.
first hammock
She
for him,
wanted
and
attention.
often
She was like,
later on
"Mama."
became a sort of humble friend to the junior officer.
Ooh.
The narrator, on joining the sloop, had found this man on board after some years of separation. There is something touching in the warm pleasure he remembers and records at this meeting with the professional mentor of his boyhood. We discover
Who needs to
then
watch
that
their mouth
no
now?
Spaniard
Is that
being
me or
forthcoming for
the
service,
audiobook? I kind of
this
zoned out there.
worthy seaman with the unique pigtail
He said
and a very
seaman.
high character for courage and steadiness had been selected as messenger for one of these missions inland which have been mentioned. His preparations were
I
not
got
elaborate.
a baby kitty with
One
me, though.
gloomy
Oh,
autumn
this little
morning, the
pussycat
sloop
right
ran
here.
close
The
to a shallow
pussycat is
cove
got.
where a landing could be
What's new,
made on that
pussycat?
iron-bound shore.
Whoa, whoa,
A
whoa,
boat
whoa,
was lowered
whoa.
and pulled in with Tom Corbin.
I'm playing with
Cuba
her
Tom,
little
Tootsies,
perched
her
in the
little
bow,
tobies.
and our young man,
Oh, she got those
Mr.
nice
Edgar
little
Byrne was his name
tootsies.
on this earth which knows him no more,
There we go.
sitting in the stern sheets.
Get her in my
A few
lap.
inhabitants of a hamlet, whose grey stone houses could be seen 100 yards or so up a deep ravine,
Give this
had
boy
come
some.
down to the shore and watched
This
the
boy just
approach of
got the
boat.
fuck me up
The
hair.
two Englishmen leaped ashore. Either from dullness or astonishment, the peasants gave no greeting.
You know what?
and
I'm kind of
only
vibing
fell
with this
back
Henry.
in
I'm not gonna lie.
silence. Mr. Byrne had made up his mind to see Tom Corbin started fairly on his way. He looked round at little surprised faces. There isn't much to get out
Okay,
of them,
I'm
he
trying
said.
to draw, but I got
Let us walk up to the village.
under my
There will
arm.
be a wine shop
Making
for
it
sure,
a little
where
difficult,
we may find somebody more
but I
promising
am
to
trying.
talk to and get some information
Miracle, what are you
from.
doing? Oh God,
Aye, aye, sir.
this
said
cat!
Tom,
I
falling
swear.
into step behind his
This
officer.
pussy
A
cute.
bit of palaver as to courses
My
and
pretty
distances
tail
can do no
is so-
harm. I crossed the broadest part of Cuba by the help of my tongue,
Miracle,
knowing far less
please.
Spanish
I'm
than I
trying
do
to
now.
draw here. Yes,
As they
come
say
here,
themselves,
sweet girl,
it was 4
sweet
words
baby.
and no more with me. That time when I got left behind on shore by the Blanche frigate.
Sorry, you have to hear me kiss my
He made
cat.
light of what was before him, which was but a day's journey into the mountains. It is true that there was a full day's
Okay,
journey
baby,
before
let me
striking
actually
the
do
mountain
my
path,
stuff
but
here.
that was nothing for a man who had crossed the island of Cuba
Let me
on his
save
2
in case she
legs,
steps on my
and with no
keyboard again.
more than 4 words of the language to begin with.
Okay,
The
that
officer and the
eye's all
man were
fucked
walking
up.
now
Let
on
me
a
fix
thick,
it.
sodden bed of dead
Again,
leaves,
it's not easy
which the
drawing when
peasants
you got a
thereabouts
cat
accumulate
crawling
in
all
the
over
streets
you.
of their villages to rot during the winter
Alright, here
for
we go.
field manure. Turning his head, Mr. Byrne perceived that the whole male population of the hamlet was following them on the noiseless, springy carpet. Women stared from the doors of the houses, and the children had apparently
God,
gone into
I'm
hiding.
trying here, but there's
The
a
village
cat.
knew the ship by sight.
Chat, pray
far
for
off,
me.
but no stranger had landed on that
Okay,
spot.
let me
perhaps
actually
for
like line
100
his face
years
up a
or
little.
more.
There we go.
The cocked hat of Mr. Byrne, the bushy whiskers, and the enormous pigtail of the sailor filled them with mute wonder. They pressed behind the two Englishmen, staring like those islanders.
This is somehow the
discovered by
not
Captain
autistic
Cook
brother.
in the South Seas. It was then that Byrne had his first glimpse.
But
of
he's
the
over
little
here looking
cloaked
like a
man
whole
in
ass
the yellow
ditto.
hat. Faded and dingy as it was, this covering for his head made him noticeable. The entrance to the wine shop was like a rough hole in a wall of flint.
Yeah, there we go. That's Henry.
The owner was the only person who was not.
He's
in
the little
street.
brother. He's like,
he came out from the
he's like
darkness at the
19 or
back,
something.
where
He's
the
still, he's a
inflated
baby.
Forms of wineskins hung on nails could be vaguely distinguished.
Hi, Miracle.
He was a tall, one-eyed.
All right, so y'all can't see it, but now she's standing in front of me and slapping me with her tail, like she's tickling my nose with her tail. Thanks, Miracle. Miracle. Alright, if y'all can't hear me, it's because my mouth is muffled by a fucking cat's butt in my face.
He closed his good eye.
Miracle, can I have my face back, please?
Then opened it.
Miracle, please! I'm tired of screaming through your ass.
Could be done.
My cat has become the pop filter. Okay, thank you.
Doorway at the name of Gonzales, the local leader against the French.
I love you.
Inquiring
I love
as to
you,
the
Miracle,
safety of the road, Byrne was glad to learn that
I'm
no
tired of
troops
screaming
that
through your
nation
ass,
had
girl.
been seen in the neighborhood for months. Not the smallest little detachment of these impious
Jesus Christ.
polizards.
Like, could y'all hear
While
that? Me
giving
just
these
screaming
answers,
through the
owner of
cat's
the wine
fucking
shop
side
busied
over
himself
here.
in drawing
You
into an
little
earthenware
shitbird.
jug some wine
All right.
which he set before
Back to
the
drawing the
heretic
brothers.
English, pocketing with grave abstraction the small piece of money.
Okay,
the officer
so
threw
in
upon the
canon,
table in recognition
Bo
of the
wears
unwritten
this
law
like
that none
red
may
and
enter a
green
wine
kind
shop
of
without
affair
buying
over
drink.
here.
His eye was in constant
Well, Henry
motion,
technically
as if
has
it were
got
trying to
like
do the
a
work of the
pink
two.
poncho. Or...
But
Hi,
when
Miracle,
Byrne
welcome
made
back.
inquiries as to the possibility
He's got this like
of hiring
reddish
a
pink
mule,
poncho
it
looking
became
thing.
immovably fixed in the direction of the door, which was closely
Thank you,
besieged
Miracle.
by the
God, this
curious.
cat.
In
You want a
front
treat?
of them, just within the threshold,
Let me go
the
to give
little
my
man
cat a
in the
bribe
large
real quick so
cloak
she'll
and
leave me
yellow
the
hat had
f
taken
alone for
his
5
stand.
seconds.
He was a
You
diminutive
little
person,
shitbird.
a mere homunculus, Byrne describes him, in a ridiculously mysterious yet assertive attitude.
One
corner
like
of his
equals
cloak
one treat,
thrown
everybody.
cavalierly
So
over his
somebody
left
like,
shoulder,
comment, and
muffling his
subscribe on
chin
this
and
stream
mouth,
right now.
while the broad-brimmed yellow hat hung on a corner of his square little head.
There you go.
He
one
stood
for each
there
foot and
taking
one to grow
snuff
on.
repeatedly. A mule.
Oh my
repeated the
God.
wine seller, his eyes fixed on
This
that
is what being
quaint
a
and
mother is
snuffy
like,
figure.
everybody.
No, Senor Officer. Decidedly, no
Oh, God.
mule is to be got in this
Yes, give me
poor place.
many likes so I can give her
The
many
coxswain,
treats and many
who
tunas.
stood by with the true sailor's air of unconcern in strange
I'm gonna turn
surroundings.
this thing on to a different.
struck
Whoa,
in
okay, I have it too
quietly.
high. Sorry, I was missing
If
my
your
muscle
honor
stimulator.
will believe me, Shank's pony's the best for this job. I would have to
Shanks?
leave the beast somewhere, anyhow, since the captain has told me half my way will
Excuse
be along
me.
paths fit only for goats. The diminutive man made a
If you
step
can't
forward,
tell, I'm
and
actually quite
speaking
allergic
through
to
the
cats.
folds of the cloak, which
And I've
seemed
gotten
to muffle
cat
a sarcastic intention.
hair up my nose.
Sigh, senor. They are too
I'm
honest
mostly
in this
immune to
village
my
have
own
a
cat,
single
but
mule
not
amongst them for your worship's
large
service.
amounts of cat hair
To
up my
that,
schnoz.
I can bear testimony.
Ugh!
In these times, it's only rogues or very clever men who can manage to have mules or any other four-footed beasts and the wherewithal to keep them. But what this valiant mariner wants is a guide. And here, senor, behold my brother-in-law, Bernardino, wine seller, and alcalde
Oh,
of
man,
this
I'm
most
like...
Christian and hospitable village, who will find you one.
Oh, God,
This,
sorry. Oh, God.
Mr. Byrne says in his relation, was the
Ugh.
only thing to do. A
Okay,
youth
I'm
in a
alive.
ragged coat
All right,
and
so let's
goatskin
see.
breeches was produced
Bo
after
has that
some
kind
more
of a
talk.
salmon
The
color
English officer
thing.
stood
I mean,
treat
not
to the
Bo,
whole
Henry.
village, and while
So
the
let's see,
peasants
what
drank,
can we
he
do?
and Cuba Tom took their departure.
Here, actually, we'll come back to
accompanied
him.
by the
We're going to
guide.
start on Bo next.
The diminutive man in
Bo
the
is
cloak
the older
had
brother, but he's
disappeared.
going to be that tall,
Byrne
lanky,
went
kind of
along
funky
with the
looking
coxswain out
autistic
of
brother.
the village.
He got
He
that
wanted to see
swag.
him fairly on his way, and he would have gone a
Bo!
greater distance if the
Your
seaman
man
had not
Bo!
suggested respectfully
Hello?
the advisability of return.
Wait, are you
so as
bowing
not
or
to keep the
booing?
ship a moment longer than necessary,
I don't see any
so
tomatoes,
close in with the
so...
shore on such an unpromising-looking
Alright, I'm
morning.
gonna give Bo a
A
very...
wild, gloomy
I'm gonna assume you
sky
meant
hung over their
Bo.
heads when they took leave of each other, and their
Buckin'.
surroundings of rank bushes and stony
Buckin'.
fields were dreary.
Also, hello,
In
Ellie
4
Cupcakes.
days'
How you
time
doing?
were Burns' last words. The ship will stand in and send a
Bo
boat
gonna
on
have that
shore if
neck
the
for
weather permits.
days.
If not, you'll have to make it out
Tomatoes
on
in
shore
the
the best
soup.
you can till we come
Hell
along
yeah.
to take you off.
Bo gonna have...
Right
Bo
you
got
are,
that
sir,
neck...
answered Tom,
He got that neck
and
game.
strode on. Burn watched him step out on a narrow path. In a thick
Man, I don't think I've
with a
drawn
pair of
somebody
pistols
shaped
in
like
his
this
belt,
before,
a
but...
cutlass by his side, and a
I like
stout
the thought of
cudgel
Bo
in his
being
hand.
just as
He looked a
fucking
sturdy
weird
figure,
looking
well able
outside
to
of the
take care of
costume.
himself.
He's
He turned
just a
round for
goofy
moment to
little
wave his
guy.
hand, giving to
Or
Burn
a
one
very
more view
big
of
guy,
his
actually.
honest,
He's
bronzed face
he's
with
tall
bushy
boy.
whiskers. The lad in goatskin breeches looking, Burn
He's
said,
still gonna have the
like
scarf.
a
It's just
fawn
gonna be a
or
little
young
different.
satyr leaping ahead, stopped to wait for him,
The
and
man.
then went off at a bound.
The tomatoes go in the
disappeared.
soup.
Burn turned back. The hamlet was hidden in a
Yeah, like
fold of
his
the
outfit's
ground,
not gonna actually
and the
change that
spot
much. I like to
seemed
think
the
that he
most
chooses to
lonely corner
still
of
wear
the
that
earth,
thing now and
and as
then.
if accursed in its uninhabited, desolate barrenness. Before he had walked many yards, there
It's
appeared
also,
very suddenly
again,
from
for
behind
those
a
just getting
bush
here, if you
the
see me
muffled
doing
up,
a weird
diminutive
jolting
Spaniard.
thing,
Naturally, Burns
like
stopped
this,
short.
it's
The
because
other
I got
made
an
a
electronic
mysterious
muscle
gesture
stimulator
with a
going on my
tiny
back for
hand
my pinched
peeping
nerves
from
and
under his
shit.
cloak.
I'm
His
on the
hat
wrong
hung very
layer.
much at the
Fuck.
side of his head. Senor, he
Fuck,
said without any preliminaries.
Get out of there.
It is a positive
Back on
fact
this layer.
that one-eyed Bernardino, my brother-in-law,
Ugh.
has at this moment a mule in his stable. And why he who is not clever has a mule
I like
there?
to think he, like,
Because he is a
they're a
rogue,
band, so
a
they're a
man without
brother band,
conscience.
right?
Because I had to give up
They
the
band
macho
O
to him
brothers.
to secure for myself
I like
a
to think
roof
he
to
still,
sleep
like,
under,
wears almost
and a
this exact
mouthful of
outfit when
olive
they do
to
stage
keep my
performances,
soul
because
in
he's
this
just shy.
insignificant body of mine. Yet, senor, it
I like
contains
to
a
think
heart
that,
many
like, he's
times
just a
bigger
shy
than the
guy,
mean thing which beats in
so
the
he
breast
wanted to
of
do,
that
like, a
brute
Daft Punky
connection
kind of
of mine,
thing.
of which I am
And
ashamed,
I like to think
though
that he
I
has just got an
opposed that
interesting
man
ass
with
shape to
all
him,
my
too.
power. Well, the misguided woman suffered enough.
Like
She had her purgatory
he
on
could
this earth.
technically be wearing that on
God
top of his head,
rest
there's
her
nothing in
soul.
there.
Burns says he was so astonished by the sudden
Or,
appearance
like I
of
said,
that
I like to think he's not
sprite-like
even
being,
mutated, he's just a
and by the
funky looking
sardonic
dude.
bitterness of the speech,
I've
that he
seen
was
some
unable
dudes
to
shaped like this. I'm gonna
disentangle the significant fact
freak his ass
from
down
what
just a
seemed
hair,
but
though.
piece of family history
I'm just
fired out at him
sketching it out
without
because I've had an
rhyme or
idea
reason.
of what they should look like,
Not at first. He
but
was confounded,
I've never
and
gotten
at
around
the
to
same
actually
time,
doing
he
it.
was impressed by the rapid, forcible delivery.
I like to
quite
think he's just
different
a
from
he's just a
the
long
frothy,
guy.
excited loquacity of an Italian. So he
Loquacity
stared
of
while
an
the
Italian,
homunculus,
oh,
letting
I
his
see.
cloak fall about him, aspired an immense quantity of snuff out of the hollow of his palm.
Man, he
A
doing
mule,
snuff. He really is
exclaimed
Italian.
Burn, seizing at last the real aspect of the discourse. You say he has got a mule.
Yeah, he
That's
could have the
queer.
regular ass.
Why did he
figure.
refuse to let me have it?
He plays one
The
string well.
diminutive Spaniard
yeah.
muffled himself up
I
again.
put it
with
on the
great
wrong layer.
dignity.
Fuck it. Use him
Quien
down,
sabe,
bitch.
he said coldly,
All
with
right.
a shrug
Actually, the
of his
brother,
draped
the little brother
shoulders.
can still be a
He
little
is a great
smaller. Actually, I
politico
made
in
him a little
everything he
bigger than
does.
I had planned to.
But one thing your worship may be certain of, that his
I like to think
intentions
like
are
Bo is
always
probably like
rascally. This
24,
husband of my defunta
25
sister
maybe.
ought to have been married a long time ago
And
to
his
the
little
widow
brother
with the wooden
Wyatt
legs.
over here is like,
Eh,
he's a baby. He's like
I see.
19.
But remember,
He's like, he's barely an
whatever your
adult.
motives,
He's barely a
your
human.
worship
He's just a
countenanced him in his
fetus that
love.
can vote.
The bright,
But he's
unhappy
like the
eyes
one
on
that's
each
got
side
quote
of a
unquote got all the
predatory
musical
nose
talent, but he's just a
confronted
more
Burn without
well-rounded
wincing,
musician, while Bo
pestilence
is
which lurks
autistic
so
and very
often at the bottom of
specialized.
Spanish dignity.
Like he got really good at playing the
No doubt
guitar,
the
even
senior
with one
officer would
fucking
not
string.
lose an ounce of blood if I were stuck under the fifth
Yeah,
rib,
but it's
he
like I like to
retorted.
think that like
But
that's
what
their
of this
that's their
poor
thing.
sinner here?
Like Bo's
Then,
really fucking good
changing
at
his
like
tone,
one or two things, while his brother's
Senor,
generally pretty good
by
at
the
everything.
necessities of the times I live here in
And
exile,
they just
a
yeah, they just
Castilian
they
and an old
different. They
Christian,
brothers though.
existing miserably in the midst of these Brutus
All right,
Furies,
let's see. We got their shapes
independent on
now
the worst
for
of them all, who has
figuring
less
out fucking
conscience and scruples than a wolf.
Bo's face
And
over here.
being
Let's
a
make his
man
neck
of
a little thinner.
intelligence, I govern myself accordingly.
Like
Yet I can
you weren't
hardly
here, Bingo, but
contain
my
my
headcanon for
scorn.
them is that they're
You have
Japanese
heard the way I
Americans
spoke.
because
A
the
caballero
Yamada
of
brothers and the
parts
Wyatt
like your
brothers kind
worship
of ran
might
in my
have
head
guessed that
together
there
at the
was
same
a
time.
cat in there. What cat? Said Byrne
But they some
uneasily.
goofy looking boys.
Oh, I see. Something suspicious.
This
No,
is
senor,
the
I
Inn
guess
of the Two Witches by Joseph Conrad.
Nothing. My nation are not good guessers at that sort of thing, and therefore I ask you plainly whether that wine cellar has spoken the truth in other particulars. There are certainly no Frenchmen
God dang, that was so
anywhere
wobbly.
about,
My
said the
electronic
little
muscle
man with a
thingy's
return
going
to
off on
his
my back like
indifferent
crazy.
manner.
So
Or
I
robbers,
may or may not be getting a
ladrones,
couple of spats.
ladrones
I don't think I'll be
en
lining
grand.
anything
No,
tonight.
assuredly not, was the answer in
Right?
a
A little
cold,
bit.
philosophical tone. What is there left for them
Dear
to do after
God.
the
Okay,
French?
I need to turn this thing on
Nobody
my back
travels
down
in
because
these
it's like I'm
times.
trying to
But who can
do
say?
my shit here.
Opportunity makes the robber.
Here, I'm
Still,
gonna switch
that
it to another
mariner
mode.
of
Hold
yours
on.
has a fierce aspect, and with the son of a cat rats will have no
There we
play.
go. Because,
But
yeah,
there
like,
is a
you can see
saying,
my
too,
hands
that
wobbling
where
from this
honey
thing on my
is,
back.
there will soon be flies. This
Damn it,
oracular
wrong button.
discourse
Okay.
exasperated Byrne. In the
I'm
name
just
of
making sure I have a
God,
clean
he
area
cried,
of when I know
tell
it.
me
I want him to
plainly
have
if you
like the
think
kind
my
of
man
slightly
is
square,
reasonably safe on his journey.
squoval ass head.
The
He's
homunculus,
got the squoval ass
undergoing one
head.
of his rapid
Because I think
changes,
it'd be fun to
seized the
contrast with
officer's
the
arm.
round ass
The
thing he's
grip of
got
his
going
little
on there.
hand was astonishing. Senor,
Yeah.
Bernardino had taken notice of him. What more do you want? And listen, men
And,
have
yeah, you could
disappeared
have-
on this road.
Okay,
on a
should he have little
certain
stickety
portion of
out
this
ears?
road,
Because that'd be kind of
when
hilarious.
Bernardino kept a maison, an inn.
Like his
And
ears are a
I,
little
his
stickety outy.
brother-in-law, had coaches and mules for
Because
hire.
like, I think it would work
Now
well with
there
the.
are no travelers, no
I think that would
coaches.
work actually.
French
Like, give him
have
like
ruined
little
me.
little round sticky out
Bernardino
ears.
has retired here
I think
for
that'd be
reasons
cute.
of his own after my sister died. They were three to torment the
Eh,
life
yeah,
out
he's
of
got
her.
little stickety
He and
out ears
Herminia
because they
and
kind of look like
Lucilla,
this thing here.
two
He's
aunts
got
of
those little
his,
round ones.
all affiliated
His
to
bro
the
has got
devil.
like some
And now
kind of
he has
normal-ish
robbed me
ears
of
that
my
hide
last
under his
mule.
just fuck
You
me
are
up
an
hair over
armed
here going
man.
on.
Demand the macho from him with a
They are
pistol
some
to his
goofy little
head,
guys.
senor.
That's all I
It
know.
is
That's
not his,
the
I
thing
tell
is
you.
I want them to be
And
goofy
ride
little
after your
guys.
man who is so precious to you. And then you shall both be
Yeah,
free.
yeah, they're both
For
gonna have
no
black
two
hair.
travelers have been ever
He's
known
gonna
to
have black
disappear together in
he's
these
got that
days.
fuck me up
As to the
hairstyle.
beast, I,
And I'm
its
thinking,
owner,
I don't know.
confided to your honor. They were staring
It's a little
hard
too
at
on the
each
nose.
other,
I don't
and
know.
Byrne nearly burst into
I like
a
the thought
laugh
of
at
like
the ingenuity and
the quote unquote
transparency of the little
neurotypical, the
man's plot
normie ass
to
brother. He's
regain
just got that
possession of his
just
mule.
fuck me up hair.
But he had no difficulty
And
to keep a straight face. Because he
yeah,
felt
everybody
deep
say.
within himself
And I
a
like the
strange
I don't know. I kind of like the
inclination to do
idea of
that very
fucking
extraordinary thing. He did not laugh.
Oh my
but
God.
his lips
I don't know. I'm
quivered,
kind of
at
thinking the
which
dope,
diminutive
dorky ass
Spaniard,
hair for
detaching
Bo,
his
but I don't know. I
black,
haven't figured it
glittering
out yet.
eyes from Byrne's face,
I'll
turned
come
his
back
back
to
on him
that.
brusquely with a gesture and a fling of the
He
cloak,
should definitely have a
which
little bit
somehow
thicker
expressed
eyebrows, though.
contempt,
He should have the
bitterness,
little
and
more
discouragement
shaggy
all at
eyebrows
once.
because he's the older brother.
He turned away and stood still,
Yo,
his hat aslant,
party in the chat.
muffled up to the ears. But he was not offended to the point of refusing.
Yeah, I don't
the silver
expect
duro
this
which
stream to
Byrne
go
offered
too
him
crazy. I
with a
am streaming
non-committal speech,
like this
as
is
if
usually when I'm
nothing
halfway done with
extraordinary
my
had
stream.
passed between them.
I mean, hell, who knows?
There
People
must
might
be
like
haste
this
on
time
board
zone.
now, said Byrne then.
But yeah,
Via
like I said, we're only going to
usque
go for like
con
2 or so hours
muttered the
because
man.
I got
And this
work in
interview
the
ended
morning
with
and
a
I get to walk home in the middle of a
sarcastic
god.
low sweep of the hat, which was
I get to
replaced at
walk
the
home.
same
Actually, yeah.
perilous
I
angle as
think
before.
I might be going to work
Directly
slightly
the
before the
boat had
winter
been
storm.
hoisted,
Think we're
the
supposed to be
ship's sails
getting
were
actually
filled on the
hits.
offshore tack, and Byrne imparted
But
the whole story to his captain.
I will definitely be
who was
walking
but a
home in some
very few years
cold
older
ass
than
weather.
himself.
That's good. Ooh.
There was some amused
Like, hold on a sec.
indignation at it.
Alexa,
But while they
what's the
laughed,
weather going to
they
be
looked
tomorrow
gravely
morning?
at each other. A Spanish dwarf trying to beguile an officer of His Majesty's Navy into stealing a mule for him. That was too funny, too ridiculous, too incredible.
32 degrees. That's like
Those were the
1 degree
exclamations of the
Celsius, give or
captain. He
take.
couldn't get over the grotesqueness
And
of it.
it's going to get colder from there because we're having a, like I
That's
said, a
just
big
it,
cold front blow in.
murmured Byrne at last
And
in a
then apparently some
significant tone.
snow maybe on Monday
They
or Tuesday.
exchanged a
So
long
that's going to be
stare.
fun.
It's as clear
You
as
know what? I'm
day,
kind of, I
affirmed the
don't know. This
captain
looks kind of
impatiently,
stupid, but I'm
because
kind
in
of
his
digging their
heart
design.
He was not certain.
Yeah, and
And
it's supposed to
Tom,
get colder.
the best seaman in
The
the
wind
ship,
chill
for
is probably
one,
going to be
the
closer to like 20
good-humouredly
degrees.
deferential friend of his
Ooh,
boyhood
it's
for
going to
the
be
other,
very
was
cold.
becoming endowed with a compelling fascination, like a symbolic
Shit, the
figure
year
of
we had that
loyalty,
winter storm, it was like the
appealing to
day
their
after
feelings and
Valentine's Day. It
their
was in fucking
conscience,
February,
so that
and
they
then
could
we
not
had it.
detach their thoughts from his safety.
Alright, there we go. I'm just
Several
figuring out where the
times
rough
they went up
anatomy
on
would
deck,
be.
only to look at the coast, as if it could
But
tell
mainly
them
Henry, because he's
something
going to
of
have
his
like an
fate.
open shirt, I
It
think.
stretched
Okay.
away,
Alright, so
lengthening
here
in
we
the
go.
distance, mute, naked, and savage.
Alright, so
veiled
we
now
got
and
some
then by
funky
the
boy. I haven't
slanting
decided on his hair
cold
yet.
shafts of rain.
I
The
mean, he could
westerly
have the,
rolled its
that, but
interminable
I'm not
angry
into
lines
that.
of foam, and
To be
big
honest, I'm not
dark
gonna lie, I'm
clouds
kind of
flew
digging
over
some
the ship
dork
in a
ass haircut like
sinister
that.
procession. I
Give
wish
that
to goodness
motherfucker
you
the
had done what your
alfalfa.
little friend
Oh
in the
god,
yellow
hold on.
hat wanted you to
Give
do,
him the
said
fucking
the commander of
alfalfa
the
ass.
fleet
Look, I'm
late
just
in the
playing. I wouldn't do
afternoon
that to
with
my boy.
visible exasperation.
But however,
Do you, sir? Answered Byrne, bitter with positive anguish.
maybe. Nah, that's too
I wonder what you would have said afterwards.
that's too guy that was a
Why?
painter and failed.
I might have been kicked out of the service for looting a mule from a nation in alliance with His Majesty. Or I might have been battered to a pulp with
Either way,
flails
I
and
kind of want him to have a
pitchforks,
little bit
a pretty
dorky ass
tale
hair.
to get
Just because
abroad
we need
about
more
one of
dork
your
ass hair.
officers while trying to steal a mule.
Oh
Or
yeah.
traced ignominiously to the
It's
boat.
chilly
For you would
out
not have
right now.
expected me to shoot down
It's
unoffending
chilly.
people for the sake of a mangy mule. And yet, he added
Okay,
in
I made a
low
post
voice,
saying I'm going to take
"I
a little
almost
break
wish
from
myself I
doing
had
Lisa
done
stuff
it."
so I could do more Poppy videos at some
Before
point.
dark,
And somehow
those two
that
young
has
men
blown up
worked
more than half the
themselves
shit
up into
I've
a highly
drawn in the last few
complex
days.
psychological state of scornful
Bruh.
skepticism and alarmed credulity.
Bruh, fucking
It
Twitter.
tormented them exceedingly, and the thought that it would have to last for 6 days at least,
Bruh.
and possibly be prolonged further for an indefinite time, was not to be borne. The ship was therefore put on the inshore tack at dark. All through the gusty, dark night, she went towards the land to look for her man, at times lying over in the heavy puffs,
Sorry,
at
checking
others
something.
rolling idle in the swell, nearly
Boop, boop.
stationary.
Okay, all
as
right.
if she
We'll
too
come
had
back
a mind
to
of her
Bo's
own
hair.
to swing perplexed between
Let's do
cool
something
reason
easy.
and
Wyatt's
warm
outfit.
impulse.
Wait, Wyatt. Henry's
Then,
outfit in my head.
just at daybreak, a boat put off from her
I'm
and went on,
thinking
tossed by
a
the seas towards the shallow cove,
like a
where,
almost like a
with
bowling shirt
considerable
kind of on this
difficulty,
guy.
an officer in a thick coat and a round hat managed to
Nope, that
land
looks
on
like-
a strip of shingle.
There we go.
It was my wish, writes Mr. Byrne, a wish of which
I'm
my
thinking like
captain
a
approved, to
salmon
land
color,
secretly if possible.
freaking bowling
I did
ass
not want
shirt
to be
looking
seen
thing for this
either
guy.
by my aggrieved friend in the yellow hat, whose motives were
He
not
got that
clear,
dapper
or by the
look.
one-eyed wine seller, who may or may not have been affiliated to the devil,
Like I said,
or
they're
indeed
in
by any
Lisa
other
style, so
dweller
they
in
can be a
that
little more
primitive
simple.
village. But
Though
unfortunately,
I might look how to
the
do it.
cove
Some
was the
bowling
only
shoes actually would
possible
look kind of
landing
cute. Like
place
kind
for
of like he's
mine.
got like a bowler
From
look
the
to him.
steepness of the ravine,
I don't know
couldn't
where
make
this
a
is coming
circuit
from,
to
but
avoid the
it seemed
houses.
like it'd be cute.
Fortunately, he goes on,
They're
all the
little
people
little
were yet
artsy
in their
trendy
beds.
boys.
It was barely
With his
daylight
fuck
when
me
I
up-
found myself
fuck
walking
me
on
up
the thick
guy
layer
here.
of sodden leaves filling the only street.
All
No
right, now
soul
for the
was stirring
real
abroad.
the
No
real
dog
pesto
barked.
resistance.
The silence was profound, and I had
Basically, his
concluded with
outfit's not
some
gonna
wonder
change that much.
Apparently, no dogs were kept in the hamlet when I heard a low snarl, and from a noisome alley between two
He might not
hovels
be wearing the
emerged
gloves
a vile
unless he
cur
just
with
likes
its
wearing
tail
gloves,
between
but
its
yeah,
legs.
okay.
He slunk off silently, showing me his teeth as he ran before me, and he disappeared so suddenly that he might
the
have been
poots.
the unclean incarnation of the evil one.
Could
There was,
always
too,
go
something
this
so
route
weird in the
for
manner
him.
of its coming and vanishing that my
Could give him the
spirits,
moist
already
critical,
by no means
hair.
very high, became further depressed by the revolting sight of this creature, as if by
You
an
know what? That
unlucky
actually
presage.
do be kind of fitting.
He got away from
That
the
do be
coach
kind of
unobserved
fitting him,
as far as he
giving him
knew,
that moist
then
critical
struggled
hairstyle.
manfully to the
Hold on,
west
let me look at
against
him.
wind and rain on a barren, dark upland under a sky of ashes. Far away, the harsh and desolate mountains raising their scarped and
Yeah,
denuded
hold on, let me
ridges
look at a
seemed to
good
wait
picture
for
of
him
Critical's
menacingly.
hair.
The evening found him fairly near to them, but in sailor language.
Yeah, you know what? That actually might kind of go hard. That might go hard for him. The thought of him with long hair under there, like bundled up or some shit, is kind of a cute thought.
Obtain the slightest intelligence of Tom Corbin's passage. On, I must push on, he had been saying to himself through the hours of solitary effort, spurred more
I'm trying to
by
think of how I want this thing
incertitude
incorporated,
than
because
by
it's
any
like,
definite fear
I don't know
or
what the frick
definite
it's
hope.
doing here, to be
The lowering
honest. It
daylight
looks cool in
died
the
out
design, but it's
quickly,
like, what's going on
leaving
with
him
this?
faced by a broken bridge.
I
He
guess I can just
descended
make it
into the
shorter.
ravine, forded a narrow stream by the
Yo,
last gleam of
what's
rapid
up,
water,
Maury?
and
We're drawing
clambering
the
out on
Wyatt
other
brothers.
side was met by the night, which
But
fell
disdainful
like a
style.
bandage over his eyes. The wind sweeping in the darkness, the broadside of the Sierra worried his ears by a continuous roaring noise, as of a
Ooh,
maddened
it should be
sea.
asymmetrical.
He suspected that he had lost the road. Even in daylight, with its ruts and mud holes and ledges of outcropping stone, it was difficult to distinguish from the dreary waste of the moor, interspersed with boulders and clumps of naked bushes. But, as he says, he steered
Yeah,
his course
I
by the
wanted to draw
feel of the
disdainful then
wind.
for a hot minute.
His
I just
hat
never.
rammed
I did
low
a poll
his
on the
brow,
channel, and that's
his
what people
head
requested.
down, stopping now and again from mere weariness of mind rather than of body, as if not his strength, but his resolution were being
You know, I'm kind of
overtaxed
fucking with
by
this
the
design.
strain
I
of
like it.
endeavor half suspected to be vain.
I wasn't sure I
by
was
the
going to
unrest
before.
of his
Now, you know,
feelings.
I'm kind of fucking with this. I like
In one
this
of these
look.
pauses, born in the wind, faintly, as if from very far away, he heard a sound of knocking, just knocking on wood. He
I like
noticed
think he's
that
got
the
like a little
wind had
sweater under
lulled
there.
Suddenly, his heart started beating
He's kinda cute.
tumultuously because in himself he carried the
Yeah,
impression
and
of the
my
desert
dumbass
solitudes he had been
headcanon,
traversing for the last 6 hours.
friggin' Henry's
oppressive
the little
sense
brother.
of an
He's the little brother with more
uninhabited
talent.
world. When he raised his head, a gleam of light,
Now, the hair I was
illusory
thinking
as
for
it often
Bo,
happens in dense darkness,
I was thinking some
swam
kind of
before
fucking
his
like
eyes.
Dorcas hairstyle, but then I
While
thought,
he
ooh,
peered, the sound of feeble
ooh,
knocking was repeated.
what about that moist
And
critical
suddenly,
haircut?
he felt rather than saw the
Fucking
existence
grown out
of a
ass
massive
hair.
obstacle in his path. What was it? The spur of a hill?
God, remember when Critical
Or
used to
was
do
it
the
a
man bun
house?
for a bit? That was fun.
Yes. It was a house right close, as though it had risen from the ground or had come gliding
Yeah,
to meet him, dumb and pallid, from some
most
dark
people
recess of the night.
see him as
It
the big
towered
brother.
loftily. He had come up under
I
its
like to
lee,
think of him as
another
actually the
3
little
steps,
brother that just
and he could
happened to have more
touched the wall
talent,
with his
quote
hand.
unquote.
It was
In
no
my-
doubt of
in
his
my
father,
head,
and some other traveler was trying to
He's
admit
the
him.
smaller,
again
more
the
quote unquote
sound of
talented
cautious knocking.
neurotypical brother,
Next moment,
and
a
Bo
broad
is
band
the
of light
older,
fell into the night through the
specializing
open
autistic
door.
older
Burns
brother.
stepped eagerly into
That
it, whereupon the person outside
Like,
leaped
is that?
with a
That's
stifled
a
cry
common
away
dynamic
into the night.
sometimes in families
An
when you have like
exclamation of
people
surprise was heard too.
when you have an
from
autistic
within.
older brother versus
Burn,
a
flinging
autistic
himself
younger
against
brother
the
and vice
half-closed
versa and all
door,
that.
forced his
Like that's
way
the
in
kind of
against some
dynamic I'm
considerable resistance.
feeling.
A miserable candle, a mere rushlight,
I'm looking
burned
at
at the end of
Critical's
a
hair right now. Hold
long
on.
deal table. And in its light, Burns saw, staggering yet, the girl he had driven from the door.
Yeah, most people
She
see
had
him
a
as
short
the
black skirt,
older brother,
an
but
orange
I'm
shawl,
having a little fun
a
here.
dark complexion, and the escaped single hairs from the mass, somber and thick like a forest, and held up
I'm kind
by
of
a
digging
comb,
him with this like
made
kind
a
of
black mist about her low
frizzy
forehead.
ass
A shrill,
black hair, and his brother's got frizzy ass short hair.
Misericordia came in two
In fact, I could
voices from the
legit give
further
him
end of the
Critical's
long
other
room,
haircut if
where
I
the
wanted the
firelight of an
short,
open hearth
funky
played
hair. Like
between
I'm gonna
heavy
clean it up a
shadows.
little.
The girl, recovering herself, drew a
But
hissing
yeah.
breath through her set teeth. It is
Yeah,
unnecessary
I
to
don't know.
report the
I'm
long
kind of fucking with
process
this
of
design. I like it
questions
a
and
little
answers
bit,
by which he
actually.
soothed the fears of 2 old women who sat on each side of the fire, on which stood a large earthenware pot. Byrne thought at once of 2
What do you
witches
think?
watching the brewing of some
What do you think,
deadly
Chad? Do you
potion.
think that's a kind
But all the same, when
like the
one
more
of
I
them,
look at it, I
raising
kind of like it. I kind of
forward
I'm digging
painfully
this
her broken
design for
form lifted the cover of the pot. The escaping
like
steam
he's
had an
just a
appetizing
long
smell.
boy. He's just a
The other
long
did
guy.
not budge, but sat hunched up, her head trembling all the time.
He's
They were
just a
horrible.
long-haired
There was
dude.
something grotesque in their decrepitude, their toothless mouths,
He's
their
just
hooked
fucking
noses,
nappy
the
ass hair.
meagerness of the active one, and the hanging yellow
Like I
cheeks
like to
of
think
the
they
other.
both
The
got
still
black
one
hair
whose
that's
head
just
trembled
they don't
would have
brush
been
it well.
laughable if the sight of their dreadful physical degradation had not been appalling
The
to
more
one's
I look
eyes,
at Bo, the
had
more I
not
like him.
gripped
To be
one's
honest.
heart with poignant amazement at the unspeakable misery of age, at the awful persistence
Yeah, I'm
of life,
fucking with this. I
becoming at
I
last
fucked
an
with this. I
object
like
of
it.
disgust and
They're so
dread.
cute.
To get over it, Byrne began to talk,
Yeah, let me pull the brothers
saying
over
that he
here.
was an Englishman,
I can make them
and that he was in search of a
a little
countryman
bigger.
who ought to have passed this way. Directly he had spoken, the recollection of his parting with Tom came up.
Like
in
I
his
was like, I'm
mind
probably
with
not gonna be able to
amazing
line thing, but you know
vividness.
what? Their
The
design kind of came
silent
out cute.
villagers,
Hey,
the
what's up,
angry gnome,
Purry?
the one-eyed wine seller,
Looky, I'm drawing the
dealer.
boys. I'm drawing Bo
Why,
and Wyatt.
These 2
I mean, Bo
unspeakable
Wyatt
frights
and
must
Henry
be
Wyatt.
that
Blah, what
man's
am I saying?
aunts, affiliated to the
I
devil.
keep forgetting their last
Whatever
name's
they
Wyatt.
had
And they're
been,
not
once
Bo
it was
and
impossible to
whatever.
imagine what use such feeble
Yeah,
creatures could be to
I'm
the
doing
devil
their
now
disdainful
in
designs.
the world of the living. Which was Lucilla?
Hold on, I'm
and which
turning
was
my
Olivia? They were now things without a name.
electronic muscle
A
stimulator to
moment
another
of
setting.
suspended animation followed Byrne's words.
Yeah.
The sorceress with the spoon.
I don't
ceased
see
stirring
very
the
many
mess
people
in the
do
iron
the
pot.
non-mutated
The very
versions
trembling
of
the
them
other's
or
head
a
stopped for the
non-mass
space
version
of
of
breath.
Bo.
In this
And I wanted to for a while. I did a
infinitesimal
poll on
fraction of a
the
second,
on
Byrne
the
had the sense of
Twitter
being
page,
really
and
on
you
his
guys probably
quest,
saw it.
of having reached
Who
the
do they
turn
want
of
people
the
wanted to
path,
see next?
almost
And
within hail of
almost
Tom.
everybody voted for either
have seen
these
him,
guys
he
or
thought with
Roulette
conviction.
Guy and
Here
Buckets.
was at last
So they'll be
somebody who had
next at
seen
some
him.
point.
He made sure they would deny all knowledge of the Ingalls. But on the
Yum,
contrary,
yum,
they were eager to tell him that he had eaten and slept the night in
yum,
the
yum,
house.
yum, yum,
They
yum,
both
yum,
started
yum,
talking
yum.
together,
I mean,
describing
sorry.
his appearance and behaviour. an excitement quite fierce in its feebleness possessed them. The doubled-up sorceress flourished aloft her wooden spoon.
Nice.
The puffy monster got
And
off
this
her stool
one,
and
they're an indie
stepping
band,
from one foot to the
of
other,
brothers.
while the trembling of her head was accelerated to positive
All right, here's an
vibration.
exclusive thing for
Byrne was
Disdainful
quite
that only people
disconcerted
at
by
the
their
stream will
excited
know.
behavior.
They're going to appear
Yes.
at some point
The big, fierce
because they
Ingalls
know
went away
Terry.
in the morning
That
after
basically
eating a
that's
piece
how
of
they'll be
bread and
introduced
drinking
into the
some
fic
wine.
is that
And if
they
the
know Terry.
Caballero wished to follow the same path, nothing could be easier. morning.
Mostly because Terry just
You will
met
give
them
me
one
somebody
day
to show
doing
me the
God
way,
knows what,
said Byrne.
and they did a
Sigh,
collab or
senor,
something.
a proper youth. The man the
He
Caballero
did some kind of
saw
collab for
going
his
out.
channel. Like I imagine, like
But he was
because
knocking at the door.
people that know
protested
the
Byrne.
Disdainful
He
lore
only
that Terry
bolted
does
when he
have a
saw
YouTube
me.
channel. He
He was
doesn't use it
coming in.
much, but he
No,
does have
no.
one.
The
I like
two
to think
horrid
that he
witches
got
screamed out
the
together.
Yamada
Going out,
brothers, the
going
Wyatt
out.
brothers over here
After all,
to
it
do
may have
his
been
like
true.
channel intro or whatever.
The sound of knocking had been faint, elusive,
It's like I'm checking something.
reflected Byrne.
Ow!
Perhaps
God, my
only
muscles
the
just
effect of his
clenched
fancy.
and unclenched from
He
this
asked,
thing.
Who is that man?
Okay,
Her novio. They screamed, pointing
but
to
yeah,
the girl.
that's the
He
idea.
has gone
that's
home
happened.
to a village far away from here, but he will return in the morning.
Me too.
Her novio, and she is an orphan.
But yeah,
a
that's
child
okay.
of
So yeah,
poor
people that are
Christian
here, they'll
people.
get to know that.
She lives with us
People
for the
that
love
don't
of God,
show up to
for
the streams
love
are not
of
going to
God.
know that. That's
The
how they're
orphan
introduced
crouching
to
on
the
the
story.
corner of the hearth had been
Also,
looking at
Locale Live
Byrne.
is
He thought
live,
that
so
she was
I'm only
more
going to be
like a
going for
child
about
of
another
Satan
hour
kept
because
there
I don't
by
want to miss
these
Locale
two
Live.
weird harridans for the love of the devil. Her
Anywho,
eyes were a little
but
oblique,
yeah,
her
that's
mouth
the
rather
game
thick,
plan so
but
far.
admirably formed.
All
Her
right,
dark
let's
face had
like
a
these
wild
boys.
beauty,
Why not? Fuck it.
voluptuous
We
and
ball.
untamed. As to the character of her steadfast gaze
But-
perched upon him,
What do
with
you
a
think?
sensuously
What do you
savage
think,
attention.
Galley Cupcakes?
To
Do you
know
like their
what it was
design?
like, says Mr. Byrne. You
They're
have only
cute
to
little
observe
guys.
a hungry cat watching a bird in a cage.
Like I
or a
imagine they're
mouse
like
inside a
19 and
trap.
like 24 or
It
something
was
like
she
that.
who served him the food, of which
Somewhere
he
around
was
there,
glad,
around those ages.
though with those big, slanting black eyes examining him at close
Oh,
range,
my back
as
is.
if he had something curious written
Like
on his
I have
face.
this muscle
gave him
stimulator
an
going on my back,
uncomfortable
so it might sound
sensation.
like this. Oh
But anything
dear
was
God!
better than being approached by
And it
these
just released my back.
blear-eyed,
Ow.
nightmarish witches. His apprehensions somehow
Okay.
had been soothed,
Yeah, sorry,
perhaps
my
by
back
the
is all
sensation
janked up
of
from work, so I've been
warmth
using
after
this
severe
thing for my
exposure,
back.
and the
Ow.
ease of resting after the exertion of fighting the gale inch by inch.
What do you
all
think,
the
Al?
way. He had no doubt of
Oh,
Tom's
boy.
safety. He was now sleeping in the mountain camp, having been met by Gonzales's men. Byrne rose, filled a
You've
tin
been
goblet
napping
with
all
wine
day.
out of a skin hanging
feel
on
that.
the wall.
God,
and
I
sat
was
down
so
again.
tired last night
The
that I
witch
fell
with the
asleep in the
mummy
middle of a
face
hot
began to
soak.
talk to him, ramblingly
Woke up, I was like, "Why am I
volatile.
cold?"
She boasted of the inn's fame in those
And then I
better
fell
days.
asleep. I was so
Great people in their
fucking
own
out of
country
it. I
stopped
fell
there.
asleep with my lights on and
archbishop
just
slept
never
once
turned
in
them
the
off. I
casa
slept
a
all through the
long,
night
long
off and
time
on
ago.
with my
The witch
freaking
with the
lights on.
puffy
I
face
never
seemed
do
to be
that. That's how
listening from
freaking
her
out of
stool,
it I was last
motionless,
night.
except for the trembling of her
Truthfully,
hand.
this stream was a horrible
The
idea.
girl,
I'm so
Byrne
goddamn
was
tired.
certain she was
But
a
I wanted
casual
to draw
gypsy
with you
admitted
guys
there
and
for
just
some
yap and
reason
catch
or
you up
other,
on what's been
sat
going
on a
on.
hearthstone in the glow of the
So,
embers.
this was my own
She hummed a
stupid
tune to
decision.
herself,
So,
rattling a pair of
and that's also why
castanets
this is not going to
quietly
be a
now
very
and then.
long stream. I'm
At the
so
mention of
freaking
the
out of it.
archbishop,
And I got to
she
work again
chuckled
tomorrow
impiously
morning.
and turned her head to look at
So,
Byrne,
not looking
so
forward
that
to
the
that.
red glow of the fire flashed in her black eyes and on her white teeth under the dark cowl of the enormous
What
overmantel.
about white teeth? I ain't
And
got
he
those.
smiled at her.
I eat
He
too much
rested
candy.
now in the ease of security. His advent not having been
I
expected,
have
there could be no
genetic
plot
issues, but
against
that's
him in
besides the point.
existence. Drowsiness stole upon his senses. He enjoyed it, but keeping a hold, so he thought at least, on his wits. But he must have been gone further than he thought, because he was startled beyond measure by a fiendish
The
uproar.
legs are not.
He had never heard anything so
symmetrical.
pitilessly strident in his life.
There we go.
The witches had started a fierce quarrel about something or other.
The
Whatever
witches
its
are having a
origin, they were now
quarrel.
only
Oh
abusing
no!
each other violently, without arguments. Their senile screams expressed nothing but wicked anger and ferocious dismay.
The witches is fighting. The
gypsy
witches is
girl's
fighting.
black eyes flew from one to the other. Never before had Byrne felt himself so removed from fellowship with human beings. Before he had really time to understand the subject of the quarrel, the girl jumped up, rattling her castanets loudly. A silence
Her
fell.
castanets.
She came
oh,
up
no.
to the table and bending over, her eyes in his. "Signor," she said with decision, "you shall sleep in the Archbishop's room."
Man, we
Neither
got
of the
Italian witches up
objected.
in here.
The dried-up one, bent double, was propped on a stick. The puffy-faced one had now a crutch. Byrne got up, walked to the door, and turning the key in the enormous lock, put it coolly in his pocket. This was clearly the only entrance, and he did not mean to be taken unawares by whatever danger there might have been lurking outside. When he turned from the door,
Ynnep-Chan, how's your fat rats doing?
affiliated to the devil, and the satanic girl looking at him
Ow!
in silence.
God, my back is going
He
nuts
wondered
from
if
this
Tom
thing.
Corbin took the same precaution last night. And thinking of him, he had again that queer impression of his nearness. The world was perfectly dumb. And in this stillness, he heard the blood beating in his ears with a confused rushing noise, in which there seemed to be a voice uttering the words, Mr. Byrne, look out, sir. Tom's
Mr.
voice.
Byrne.
He shuddered, for the delusions of the senses of hearing are the most vivid of all, and from their nature have a compelling character. It seemed impossible that Tom should not be there. Again, a slight chill as of stealthy draught penetrated through his very clothes and passed over all his body.
Sorry, my
He shook
back
off
is
the
went.
impression with an effort. It was the girl who preceded him upstairs, carrying an iron lamp.
Yeah,
from the
God,
naked
that's
flame of
sad about
which
David
ascended
Lynch.
a thin
Rest in
thread of
peace, dude.
smoke. Her soiled white stockings were full of holes. With the same quiet resolution with which he had locked the door
Okay, sorry,
below,
my back
Byrne
is going.
threw open one after another the doors in the corridor. All the rooms were empty, except for some nondescript lumber in one or two. And the girl, seeing what he would be at, stopped every time, raising the
Sorry,
smoky
my back
light in each
thingies,
doorway
like-
Meantime, Meantime,
Yep.
she observed
I am
him with
basically willfully
sustained
tasing
attention.
my own back right
The
now.
last door of all she threw open herself. You sleep here, senor, she murmured in a voice light like a child's breath, offering him the lamp.
You sleep here, senor.
Buenos noches, señorita, he said politely,
Oh,
taking
now
it
we're
from
in
her.
Mexico.
She didn't return the wish audibly.
I'm not gonna
though
lie, I'm
her
having trouble
lips
paying
did
attention
move
because
a
my
little,
ADHD
while
is
her gaze
flying
black
off the
like
charts
a
'cause I'm
starless
exhausted.
night, never for
My
a
meds have
moment
worn off for the
wavered
day.
before him. He stepped in, and as he turned to close the door, she was still there, motionless and disturbing, with her
Yeah, I'm
voluptuous
kind
mouth
of digging
and
how
slanting
Bo
eyes,
here looks. He's
with the
cute.
expression of expectant, sensual
One
ferocity
big
of a
old
baffled
ear
cat.
sticking out here.
He hesitated for a moment, and in the dumb house he heard again the blood pulsating ponderously
The
in his
dumb
ears,
house.
while once more the illusion
Your
of
house is
Tom's
dumb.
voice speaking earnestly somewhere nearby was specially terrifying, because this time he could not make out the words. He slammed the door in the girl's face at last, leaving her in the dark, and he opened it again almost
His
on
other
the
ear
instant.
can be covered.
Nobody.
Just one
She
sticky
had
out here
vanished
for the
without the
ladies.
slightest sound.
For
He
the
closed
ladies.
the door quickly and bolted it with 2 heavy bolts. A profound mistrust possessed him suddenly. Why did the witches
Aw.
quarrel about letting him
The
sleep here?
Rieties.
And what meant that stare of the girl, as if she wanted to impress his features forever in her mind?
Wash your rats.
His own nervousness alarmed him. He seemed to himself to be removed very far from mankind. He examined his room. It was not very high, just high enough to take the bed which stood under an enormous baldaquin-like canopy from which fell heavy curtains at foot and head. A bed certainly worthy of an archbishop. There was a heavy table carved all round the edges, some armchairs of enormous weight, like the spoils of a grandee's palace, a tall, shallow wardrobe placed against the wall and with double doors. He tried them, locked. A suspicion came into his mind, and he snatched the lamp to make a closer examination. No, it was not
I'm
a
really
disguised
actually liking
entrance.
this design for
That
a bow.
heavy, tall
He's
piece
cute.
of furniture stood clear of the wall by
Just a
quite an
scrappy
inch.
little guy.
He glanced at the bolts of his room door. No one could get at him treacherously while he slept. But would he be able to sleep? He asked himself anxiously. If only he had Tom there, the trusty seaman who had fought at his right hand in a
Trusty
cutting-out affair
seaman.
or two, and had always preached to him the necessity to take care of himself. For it's no great trick, he used to say, to get yourself killed in a hot fight. Any fool can do that. The proper pastime is to fight the Frenchies and then live to fight another day. Byrne found it a hard matter not to fall into listening to the silence.
Jumping
Somehow,
on this
he had
side
the
like a new
conviction
model.
that nothing would break it, unless he heard again the haunting sound of Tom's voice. He had heard it twice before.
I'm
Odd.
actually, like I said,
And
I
yet
actually
no
like
wonder,
this little
he
design
argued
for
with
him so far.
himself
He's cute.
reasonably, since he had been thinking of the man for over 30 hours continuously, and what's more, inconclusively. For his
I'd have
anxiety
him
for
straight
Tom
faced
had
like
never
this,
taken
but that might
a
look a little
definite
silly.
shape.
Because I'm
Disappear
looking at it the
was
way
the
like
only
Henry
word
looks here
connected
too.
with the idea of Tom's
He's a
danger.
smiley little guy,
It was
even
very
as
vague and awful.
a mutant. So
Disappear! What did that mean?
man,
Burn
it is hard to
shuddered,
draw
and then
and
said
keep
to
your arms
himself
straight
that he
while
must
this
be a
thing is
little
going. I'm not
feverish.
gonna lie.
But Tom had not disappeared. Byrne had just heard of him, and again the young man felt the blood beating in his ears. He sat still,
I got a cute
expecting
idea
every
for
moment to
Henry
hear
over
through
here.
the
Hold up.
pulsating strokes the
All right,
sound
let
of
me cook
Tom's
chat.
voice. He waited, straining his ears, but nothing came. Suddenly the thought occurred to
A
him.
reference to
He has
this.
not disappeared, but he cannot make himself heard. He jumped up from the armchair.
That thing the
How
Japanese people
absurd.
get done where they give themselves
Laying
the
his
snaggle
pistol and
tooth
his
to
hanger
look
on
cute.
the table, he took off his boots, and feeling suddenly too tired
Him with
to
the little
stand,
snaggle tooth.
flung himself on the bed, which he
I'm
found
gonna redraw
soft
that with a
and
little thinner
comfortable
lines in a
beyond
little
his
bit,
hopes.
actually.
He had felt very wakeful, but he must have dozed off after all.
But yeah, it's a
because the
placeholder.
next
Get
thing
it? Because
he
he's
knew,
got
he
the
was
little.
sitting up in bed and
little
trying to recollect
teeth
what it
right
was
here.
that Tom's
Give
voice
him
had
the
said.
Japanese
he remembered
kawaii
it
boy
now. It had
snaggle
said,
tooth. They gotta be
Mr.
cute.
Byrne, look out, sir. A warning, this. But against what? He landed with one
I
leap
think
in the
that'd be
middle of
cute
the
as
floor,
hell.
gasped once, then looked all round the room. The window was shuttered and barred with an iron bar. Again he ran his eyes
UFOs fly
slowly
into
all
their
round
cage.
the bare
What?
walls, and even looked up at the ceiling, which was rather high. Afterwards he went to the door to examine the fastenings. They consisted of two enormous iron bolts sliding into holes made in the wall, and as the corridor outside was too narrow to admit of any battering
Now I kind of want to play
arrangement, or
Stardew.
even to permit an axe to be
Well,
swung,
I won't put you guys
nothing
through that
could
on
burst
stream.
the door open, unless gunpowder. But while he was still making sure that the lower bolt was
But
pushed
man,
well
after
home,
stream, I
he
might
received
throw on
the
some
impression
locale
of
live and
somebody's
play some
presence in the
Stardew.
room. It was so strong that he spun round
The
quicker than
autism is
lightning.
calling me.
There was no one. Who could there be? And yet, it was then that he lost the decorum and restraint a man keeps up for his own sake. He got down on his hands and knees with the lamp
Man,
on
it
the
is
floor
really hard to draw
to
if you're
look
back
under the
in,
bed,
like,
like a
zapped.
silly girl. He saw a lot
This is
of
my
dust
challenge
and
to
nothing
myself
else.
today.
He got up, his cheeks burning, and walked about discontented
You know,
with his own
he
behaviour,
is pretty cute
and
looking, though.
unreasonably
I'm
angry
happy
with
with
Tom
this
for
bow.
not leaving him alone. The words, Mr. Byrne, look out, sir, kept on repeating themselves in his head in a tone of warning. Hadn't I better just throw myself on the bed and try to go
Actually,
to sleep?
wait, hold
he
on.
asked
Let me,
himself. But his eyes fell on the tall wardrobe, and
They're
he went
actually,
towards
like,
it,
his are not
feeling
little, like,
irritated with himself, and yet
they're, like,
unable
straight up
to desist.
threads, so
How
I
he could
might
explain tomorrow
save
the
that.
burglarious misdeed to the two odious witches, he had no idea.
I mean, hell, I won't tell you
Nevertheless,
no.
he inserted the
I
point
might
of his
use
hanger
the,
between the
actually,
two
the
halves
other
of the
brush
door
in a little
and
bit
tried to
and use
prise
that
them
to
open.
do the effect.
They resisted. He
The
swore,
edge brush.
sticking now hotly to his purpose. His mutter,
I saw a
"I hope
post
you will be
today that made me
satisfied.
think of you, Bob, at
Confound
one.
you," was addressed to the
It
absent
said, do
Tom.
not get a
Just then,
commission
the
of your
doors
Yumi
gave
ship.
way and flew open.
Whatever you do,
He was there.
you will become
He,
addicted.
the trusty, sagacious, and courageous Tom was there, drawn up, shadowy,
It's like,
and stiff, in
yeah.
a prudent silence, which his wide-open eyes, by their fixed gleam,
You will become
seemed to
addicted.
command Byrne's
You cannot
respect.
deny the Yumi ship.
But Byrne was too startled to make a sound. Amazed, he stepped back a little, and on the instant the seaman flung himself forward headlong as if to clasp his officer round the neck. Instinctively, Byrne put out his faltering arms. He felt the horrible rigidity of the body, and then the coldness of death as their heads knocked together and their
Damn.
faces came into contact.
This story got
They
crazy.
reeled, Byrne hugging Tom close to his breast in order not to let him
To his
fall with
breast.
a crash. He had just strength enough to lower the awful burden gently
Apple
to the
juice.
floor. Then his
Ooh.
head swam, his legs gave way, and he sank on his knees,
I don't know
leaning
why I
over
had
the
it
body with his
going
hands
like
resting
that,
on the
to be
breast
honest.
of that
That's
man,
like a weird
once
perspective
full
thing that's
of generous
incorrect.
life, and now
You fix
as
that.
insensible
Okay.
as a stone. Dead, my poor Tom, dead, he repeated mentally. The light of the lamp standing near the edge of the table fell from above straight on the stony, empty stare of these eyes, which naturally had a mobile and merry expression. Byrne turned his own away from them. Tom's black silk neckerchief was not knotted on his breast. It was gone. The murderers had also taken off his shoes and stockings, and noticing this spoliation, the exposed throat, the bare upturned feet, Byrne felt his eyes run full of tears. In other respects, the seaman was fully dressed. Neither was his clothing disarranged, as it must have been in a violent struggle. Only his checked shirt had been pulled a little out the waistband in one place, just enough to ascertain whether he had a money belt fastened round his body. Byrne began to sob into his handkerchief. It was a nervous outburst which passed off quickly. Remaining on his knees, he contemplated sadly the athletic body of as fine a seaman as ever had drawn a cutlass, laid a gun, or passed the weather earring in a gale, lying stiff and
Man,
cold.
I don't remember the last
His
time I had apple
cheery,
juice that
fearless
wasn't like
spirit
sparkling
departed,
cider or
perhaps
mulled
turning
cider
to
I'd
him,
made.
his boy chum.
I don't drink
to
a lot
his
of apple
ship
juice.
out
I do
there
drink
rolling
cider.
on the grey
I like
seas
cider.
off an iron-bound
Yummy.
coast at the very
It's apple
moment
juice
of
with
its flight.
attitude.
He perceived that the 6 brass buttons of Tom's jacket had been cut off. He shuddered at the notion of the 2 miserable and repulsive witches busying themselves ghoulishly about the defenceless body of his friend. Cut off, perhaps with the same knife which... The head of one trembled, the other was bent double, and their eyes were red and bleared, their infamous claws unsteady.
Alright, so how's this boy
It
looking
must
so
have been
far?
in this very room, too, for Tom
There
could not
he
have
is!
been killed in the
It's
open
the
and
boy!
brought in here afterwards.
There he is!
Of that,
Let me give him some
Byrne
face,
was certain.
wrong
Yet
one.
those devilish crones could
I was
not have
gonna give him
killed
some,
him
like, little
themselves,
slight
even by
cheekboning.
taking him unawares, and Tom would be
He's
always
he's
on
a,
his
he's a,
guard, of
he's
course.
just a little
Tom
guy.
was a very
He's just a big
wide-awake,
little
wary
guy.
man when engaged on any service.
He's got little
And in
fella
fact,
energy,
how
even
did they
though he's a
murder
big
him?
boy.
Who did?
Gotta move
In
that
what
mouth
way?
over slightly. Like I said,
Byrne
I'm drawing,
jumped up,
but
snatched the
with
lamp
like
off
a
the
thing
table,
going off
and
on my back,
stooped
so my
swiftly
everything
over
is
the
just
body.
weird. I
The
have
light
electricity
revealed
going
on
on.
the clothing no stain, no
Ow.
trace, no spot of blood anywhere. Byrne's hands began to shake,
Aw,
so
he's
that
so
he had to set the
cute!
lamp on the floor
I actually am
and turn
kind of
away
happy
his
with
head
this.
in order to recover
Cute.
from this agitation.
Hopefully I don't
Then
get called
he began to
a bunch of
explore that
slurs
cold,
on Reddit,
still,
even though I don't
and
post
rigid
there anymore.
body for a stab,
I
a
used to post all
gunshot
this stuff to
wound
Reddit
for the
because
trace of some
people seemed
killing
to like it,
blow.
but then I kept getting
He
called.
felt all over the
Like, some
skull
people there are
anxiously.
so freaking ridiculous.
was
If you go
whole.
off model
He slipped his
slightly,
hand
they
under the
start
neck.
calling you slurs
It
and
was
stuff, and it's like,
unbroken.
dude, y'all
With
got
terrified
worse
eyes, he
autism than
peered
I
close under
do.
the chin and saw no marks
That's
of
all I can say is some of you
strangulation on the front.
motherfuckers on Reddit
There
got
were no signs
make
anywhere.
my ass
He
look
was just
neurotypical.
dead. Impulsively, Byrne got away from the body, as if the mystery of an
Like, that's every
incomprehensible
freaking
death had
server I've
changed
been
his
in
pity
there,
into
or
suspicion
every
and
subreddit.
dread.
You go
The
off
lamp on the
model
floor
ever
near
so
the
slightly
set,
in fan art,
still
quote,
face of the
just literally,
ceiling,
quote,
showed
fan
it
art.
staring at the ceiling as if
Fan
despairingly.
art. You go
In the
slightly
circle of
off
light,
model. You don't
Byrne
just
saw
directly
by the
copy it
undisturbed patches
with
of
no
thick
soul
dust on
whatsoever.
the
They
floor
freaking lose
that
their
there had
shit.
been
They're like,
no
that's not the
struggle in
character. I'm
that
like,
room. He has
bruh.
died outside.
if I was going to post the character directly,
Yes,
I could literally just post an
outside
image
in
and say,
that
I like
narrow
this
corridor,
character.
where there was
The point of
hardly
fan
room
art
to
is getting
turn,
creative,
a
you
mysterious
fucking
death had
dumbass.
come to his poor dear Tom.
Man. I'm still
The
a little
impulse of
salty, but it's like,
snatching up
bro,
his
you have
pistols
no
and
joy or
rushing out of the
creativity
room
or whimsy in your
abandoned
life.
Byrne suddenly.
If somebody going off,
For
like,
Tom,
I got
too,
called
had been armed
a
with just such
nonce
powerless weapons
by
as
somebody
he
because I
himself
didn't
possessed.
make
Pistols,
Buzzo's hairline
cutlass,
busted enough
and
when he's
Tom
only
had
like
died a
21 in the
nameless
picture.
death by
like, bro.
incomprehensible means. A new thought
Bro, are
came
you
to Byrne.
fucking for real
That
here?
stranger knocking at the door and fleeing so
Dumbasses.
swiftly at his appearance had come there to remove the body. Aha!
Just
That was the
twisting him
guide
around
the
so I can get
withered
his
witch
face
had promised
straight.
would show the English officer the
But
shortest
yeah, these people
way
are
of
fucking
rejoining his man.
stupid. God.
A promise, he saw it now, of
I don't really
dreadful
post on the
import.
Reddit anymore because they're
He
fucking
who had knocked
stupid.
would have 2 bodies to deal with. Man and officer would go forth
Yep.
from the house together. For Byrne was
Yeah, they said
certain now
mine
that
was
he would
too
have to
off
die
model.
before
It's like,
the morning.
bro.
And in the same mysterious manner,
Bruh,
leaving
and it
behind
even
him
says
an
AU,
unmarked
fan
body,
art, blah blah blah,
the
everything, and they're like,
sight
that's
of a
not what they look
smashed
like. I'm like,
head, of a
motherfucker,
throat cut,
learn
of a
to read,
gaping
you
gunshot
goddamn
wound, would have been
troglodyte.
an
God damn.
inexpressible relief.
You
It would
glassy-eyed,
have
slack-jawed
soothed his
troglodyte
fears. His
motherfuckers
soul
on Reddit.
cried
Go
within him
suck
for
a
that
dick.
dead man whom he had never
I am
found
incredibly
wanting
salty
in danger.
today, if you haven't noticed.
Why
It's been
don't
a
you
long
tell
day
me
at
what I
work.
am to look for, Tom?
It's
Why
been a
don't
long
you?
fucking week.
But in rigid immobility, extended on his back, he seemed to preserve an austere silence.
Yeah,
as
like I
if
said, Reddit can
disdaining
go
in
suck
the
my
finality
dick.
of his awful knowledge to hold converse with the living. Suddenly,
I'm kind of
Byrne
digging whatever
flung
the hell
himself
this
on his
is.
knees by the side of the body, and dry-eyed, fierce, opened the shirt wide on the breast, as
I
if to
think maybe
tear
he
the
also
secret
has the
forcibly
stickety out
from that
ears,
cold heart
but
which
he
had been
covers it
so
with his hair.
loyal to him in life. Nothing. Nothing. He raised the lamp, and all the sign
I don't
vouchfaced
know
to
what's
him
going
by
on
that
over here, but I'm
face
kind of
which
digging it.
used to be so kindly in expression was a small bruise on the forehead, the least thing.
Yeah,
a
go
mere
fuck
mark.
yourselves,
The
Reddit.
skin, even, was not broken. He stared at it a long time as if lost in a dreadful dream. Then he observed that Tom's hands were clenched as though he had fallen facing somebody in a fight with fists. His knuckles, on closer view, appeared somewhat abraded. Both hands. The discovery
There
of
we
these
go.
slight signs was more appalling to Byrne than the absolute absence of every mark would have been.
Yeah,
So
it's like,
Tom
bro,
had
I have
died
autism and
striking
I'm not
against
that
something which could
particular.
be hit, and yet could kill one without leaving a wound, by a breath. Terror, hot terror, began to play about Byrne's heart like a tongue of flame that
Hot
touches
terror
and
is what
withdraws
Bobbit
before
Worm
it
calls
turns a
Silent
thing to
Hill
ashes.
2.
He backed away from the body as far as he could, then came forward
Actually, I could probably
stealthily,
go a
casting
little
fearful
lighter with these
glances
lines. I'm on
to
the inside
steal
of his
another
head.
look at the bruised forehead. There would perhaps be such a faint bruise on his own forehead before the morning. I can't bear it, he whispered to himself. Tom was for him now an object of horror, a sight at once tempting and revolting to his fear. He couldn't bear to look at him. At last, desperation getting the better of his increasing horror, he stepped forward from the wall against which he had been leaning, seized
So
the corpse
cute.
under the armpits,
Okay, now I
and
can
began to
undo
lug
this
it over to
shitty
the
mouth
bed.
and make it look less
The bare
stupid.
heels of the seaman trailed on the floor
The
noiselessly.
semen. I'm
He
sorry.
was heavy with the dead weight of inanimate objects.
Okay, I should be able to
With a
draw
last
normal-ish
effort,
again now. My
Byrne landed
thing
him
has
face
stopped
downwards on the edge
buzzing
of the
my
bed,
back here.
rolled him over, snatched from under this stiff, passive
Big
thing
Red let
the
him
sheet with which he covered it over.
beat up.
Then he spread
Silly.
the curtains at head and foot, so that joining together as he shook their folds, they hid the bed altogether from his sight. He stumbled towards a chair and fell on it.
Wrong way.
The perspiration poured from his face for a moment, and then his veins seemed to carry for a while
I
a
can
thin
shrink that
stream
out
of
in a minute.
half-frozen blood. Complete terror had possession of him now, a nameless terror which had turned his heart to ashes.
Yeah,
He
he's
sat
got the
upright
little
in
like
straight-backed chair, the
he's got
lamp
that adorable
burning at his
Japanese
feet, his pistols and his hanger
freaking
at his left
snaggle
elbow
tooth
on the
thing
end
going
of the
on. He
table,
got that done.
his eyes turning incessantly in their sockets round the walls, over the ceiling,
Yes,
over the floor,
wrong
in the
button.
expectation of a mysterious and appalling vision. The thing which could deal death in a breath was outside that bolted door. But Byrne believed neither in walls nor bolts now. Unreasoning terror turning everything to account, his old-time
Feels
boyish
off.
admiration of the
I'm
athletic
drawing
Tom,
at a slant,
the
and I'm like,
undaunted Tom, he had seemed to him
feel it being
invincible,
off
helped to
slightly.
paralyze his faculties, added to his despair. He
There
was
we
no
go.
longer Edgar Byrne. He was a
Didn't get
tortured
too,
soul suffering more
got a little
anguish
distorted.
than
I
any
don't like
sinner's
that.
body had ever suffered
So
from
I wanted to
rack
thin this
or
line out
boot.
a little anyway.
The depth of his torment may be measured when I say that this young man, as brave at least as the average of his kind, contemplated seizing a pistol and firing into his own head. But a deadly, chilly languor was spreading over his limbs. It was as if his flesh had been wet plaster, stiffening slowly about his ribs.
Got that wet plaster
Presently,
flesh.
he thought, the two witches will be coming in, with crutch and stick, horrible, grotesque, monstrous, affiliated to the devil, to put a mark on his forehead,
Not the devil, but
tiny little
affiliated to it.
bruise of death. And he wouldn't be able to do anything. Tom had struck out at something, but he was not like Tom. His limbs were dead already. He sat still,
There's a key
dying the
underneath
death
a
over and
plantain
over
leaf.
again, and the only part of him which moved were his eyes, turning round and round in their sockets, running over the walls, the floor, the ceiling, again and again, till suddenly they became motionless and stony, starting out of his head, fixed in the
There we
direction
go.
of the bed. He had seen the heavy curtains stir and shake, as if the dead body they concealed had turned over and sat up. Byrne, who thought the world could hold no more terrors in store, felt his hair stir at the roots. He gripped the arms of the chair, his jaw fell, and the sweat broke out on his brow, while his dry tongue clove suddenly to the roof of his mouth.
These dorks.
Again the curtains stirred,
Alright, let me,
but did not open. Don't,
Make
Tom.
that a little more
Byrne made
symmetrical. I guess
effort to
it's
shout,
when you're working on
but
a
all
slight
he
angle and
heard
you're
was a
using no
slight
guidelines,
moan,
it
such
can
as an
look a little
uneasy
wonky.
sleeper may make. He felt that his brain was going. For now,
Yeah, there we
it
go.
seemed
That
to
should be
him
about
that the
right.
ceiling over the bed had moved.
Doesn't have to be
It
100% right as
slanted
long as it
and
looks
came level
right.
again, and once more the closed curtains swayed gently as if about to part. Byrne closed his eyes, not to see the awful apparition of the seaman's corpse coming out animated by an evil spirit.
There we go.
In the
Good enough.
profound silence of the room, he endured a moment of frightful agony, then opened his eyes again. And he saw at once that the curtains remained closed still, but that the ceiling over the bed had risen quite a foot.
I can bring his mouth up
With the
a
last
hair. He's got a
gleam
bit
of
of
reason
chin.
left to him, he understood that it
Got
was
that
the
crimson
enormous
chin.
baldaquin over the bed which was coming down, while the curtains attached to it swayed softly, sinking gradually to the floor. His drooping jaw snapped.
Remember a
too,
post I
and
saw
half
that was kind
rising
of
in
funny?
his
It says,
chair,
drink some
he
water and
watched
stop
mutely
slouching,
the
you
noiseless
dehydrated
descent of the
banana.
monstrous
I'm like,
canopy.
yeah, I do be
It
a
came down
dehydrated
in short,
banana
smooth
sometimes.
rushes till lowered halfway or more, when it took a run
Alright, there we
and
go.
settled swiftly its turtleback shape,
Back up to a
with the
20.
deep border piece fitting exactly the edge of the bedstead. A slight crack or two of wood were heard, and the overpowering stillness
The
of
wood
the
were
room
heard?
resumed its sway.
Oh dear.
Byrne stood up, gasped for breath, and let out a cry of rage and dismay, the first sound which he is perfectly certain did make its way past his lips on this night of terrors. This, then, was the death he had escaped. This was the devilish artifice of murder poor Tom's soul had perhaps tried from beyond the border to warn him of, for this was how he had died. Byrne was certain he had heard the voice of the seaman, faintly distinct in his familiar phrase,
He heard the
"Mr.
seaman.
Byrne, look out, sir," and again uttering words he could not make out. But then the distance separating the living from the dead is so great. Poor Tom had tried. Byrne ran to the bed and attempted to lift up, to push off the horrible lid smothering the body. It resisted his efforts, heavy as lead, immovable like a tombstone. The rage of vengeance made him desist. His head buzzed with chaotic thoughts of extermination. He turned round the room as if he could find neither his weapons nor the way out, and all the time
Damn.
he stammered awful menaces. A violent battering
so
at the door
cute.
of the inn recalled him to his soberer senses. He flew to the window, pulled the shutters open, and looked out. In the faint dawn, he saw below him a mob of men. Ha! He would go and face at once this murderous lot, collected no doubt for his undoing. After his struggle with nameless terrors, he yearned for an open fray with armed enemies. But he must have remained yet bereft of his reason, because forgetting his weapons, he rushed downstairs with a wild cry, unbarred the door while blows
I
were
kind of like him
raining on
wearing
it
gloves
outside,
too. I
and
don't.
flinging it open,
Maybe I don't
flew
know.
with his
I'm
bare
still
hands
still
at the
like
throat
I'm
of the
idea
first man he
bombing it
saw
as I
before
go,
him.
kinda.
They rolled over together. Byrne's hazy intention was to break through, to fly up the mountain path, and
Sometimes
come
I
back
really think
presently
out of
with
character and how
Gonzales's
they'd
men
be
to
different and
exact an
disdainful
exemplary
versus the
vengeance.
canon one. Like I
He fought
really fucking think
furiously,
about it, and sometimes
till
I
a
go by
tree,
the
a
first thing that
house,
hits my
a
brain when I
mountain
see them.
seemed to crash down
But sometimes
upon
those
his
are the
head,
more
and
liked
he knew
ones
no
that people are
more.
like, ah, yes, this
Here
fits.
Mr. Byrne
The ones I
describes in
actually sit and
detail
think
the
out, some
skillful
people are
manner
like
in which he
complain
found
about
his
it. It's like,
broken
no,
head
that's
bandaged, informs us that
and I'm
he had
like,
lost
sometimes
a
the
great
one I
deal
just
of
the
blood,
first
and
thought that comes to my head,
ascribes the
people are like,
preservation
yep,
of
I
his
can see that one.
sanity
I'm
to
like,
that circumstance.
yay,
He sets
instinct.
down Gonzales' profuse apologies in full too, for it was Gonzales who, tired of waiting for news from the English, had come down to the inn with half his band on his way to the sea. His Excellency, he explained, rushed out with fierce impetuosity, and moreover was not known to us for a friend, and so we, etc., etc. When asked what had become of the witches, he only pointed his finger silently to the ground, then voiced calmly a moral reflection. "The passion for gold is pitiless in the very old, Seigneur," he said. "No doubt in former days they have put many a solitary traveller to sleep in the Archbishop's bed." "There was also a gypsy girl there," said Byrne feebly
That's
from
a
the
slur these
improvised litter
days,
on which he
man.
was being
I
carried
mean,
to
it
the
might have always
coast
been, but
by a
still.
squad of guerrilleros. "It was
What?
she who winched up that infernal machine, and it was she too who lowered it that night," was the answer. "But why? Why?" exclaimed
But
Byrne.
why?
Why should she wish for my death? No doubt for the sake of your Excellency's coat buttons, said politely the saturnine Gonzales. We found those of the dead mariner concealed on her person, but your Excellency may rest assured that everything that is fitting has been done on this occasion. Byrne asked no more questions. There was still another death,
I
which
hate
was
drawing
considered
feet,
by
even simplified,
Gonzales
to be
as
honest.
fitting to the occasion.
I can if I
The
actually
one-eyed
frickin' try,
Bernardino,
but,
stuck
they
against
just
the
never
wall
feel
of his
right.
wine shop, received the charge
I'll come
of
back to
6 escopetas into his breast.
Cause I
As
gotta
the
figure
shots
out, like,
rang
I
out
gotta,
the rough
actually here,
beer
I
with
should do
Tom's
something
body
I
on
should have
it,
done
went
earlier.
past, carried by a bandit-like gang of Spanish patriots, down
That
the
way they're on
ravine
the
to the
they're
shore,
on the
where
same
2
plane.
boats from the ship were waiting for what was left on Earth of her best
There you go. I
seamen.
should have done that to begin with.
Mr. Byrne,
Now I
very
can bring
pale
them
and
down
weak,
correctly
stepped
when I
into
finish.
the boat which carried the body of his humble friend, for it was decided that Tom Corbin should rest far out in the Bay of Biscay.
Yeah, I'll do the feet in a little
The
bit.
officer took the tiller, and turning his head for the last look at the shore, saw on the grey hillside something moving, which he made out to be a little man in a yellow hat mounted on
In
a
another
mule.
layer, I'm going to
That
put his,
mule
like, little
without which the
thingies
fate
here.
of Tom Corbin would have remained mysterious forever.
Man, that was a story, all right. Boop-a-doo, skip-a-doo, doo-doo-doo-doo-doo-doo-doo. Dip-a-ba. Let's see something else I could throw on for the background. I don't want something long because I'm only going to be streaming for a little bit longer, so. What the frick? Nah, by their idea of short, half of these are still like an hour. Y'all guys got anything to talk about today? What the frick? Oh god, the Jeanette McCurdy book. I'm glad my mother's died. God. Yeah, that's fucked up, her story. God dang. Poor baby. Her and all those others went through. Alright, let's look at stories that are under 30 minutes. Okay. The Black Veil by Charles Dickens. Alright, yeah, we'll do that on Classic Audiobook of Elliot channel.
The Black Veil by Charles Dickens.
There we go, we got
One
The Black Veil
winter's
by
evening
Charles Dickens
towards
now,
the close
Dove.
of the year 1800, or within a year or two
All
at
right,
that
so
time,
we got some
a
boys
young
here,
medical practitioner
but are they
recently
boosted? I don't know.
established in business was
You gotta remember
seated
not to
by
talk
a
to me while I'm
cheerful
boosting my
fire
voice.
in his little parlour, listening
Alright,
to the wind which
it
was
was a
beating
little
the
redder.
rain in pattering drops
Edgepin.
against the window,
Whip
or
swap.
rumbling dismally in the
Yibbity
chimney.
bop.
The night was wet
Swiggity
and
swooty
cold.
coming for the booty.
He had been walking through mud and water the whole
Dolls,
day,
chickens.
and was now comfortably
Exactly.
reposing in his dressing
Maybe
gown
throw
and
off the line.
slippers, more than half asleep, and less than half awake, resolving 1,000 matters
And I'll
in
put it
his
underneath for the
wandering
minute.
imagination. First, he thought how hard the wind was blowing, and how the cold, sharp rain would be at that moment beating in his face if he were not comfortably housed at home. Then his mind reverted to his annual Christmas visit to his native place and dearest friends. He thought how glad they would all be to see him, and how happy it would make Rose if he could only tell her that he had found a patient at last, and hoped to have more, and to come down again in a
There
few
we
months'
go.
time, and marry her, and take her home to gladden his lonely fireside, and stimulate him to fresh exertions.
What?
Then he began to wonder when his first patient would appear, or whether he was destined by a special dispensation of Providence never to have any patients at all. And then he thought about Rose again, and dropped to sleep, and dreamed about her, till the tones of her sweet, merry voice sounded in his ears, and her soft, tiny hand rested on his shoulder. There
What?
was a hand upon his shoulder, but it was neither soft nor tiny, its owner being a corpulent, round-headed boy, who, in consideration of the sum of 1
Round-headed
shilling
boy.
per week and his food,
You
was let out by the
pumpkin-headed
parish
bitch.
to carry medicine and messages.
Alright,
As
I
there
gotta
was no
fucking
demand
suck it
for
up
the
and do the
medicine,
feet.
however, and no necessity for the
Now I have their
messages,
grounding,
he
so I can
usually
make it a little more
occupied his
symmetrical.
unemployed hours, averaging 14 a day, in abstracting peppermint drops, taking animal nourishment, and going to
What
sleep.
kind of shoes you got going? Going
"A
flat.
lady, sir! A lady!" whispered the boy, rousing his master with a shake. "What lady?" cried our
The
friend,
lady.
starting up, not quite certain that his dream was an illusion, and half expecting that it might be Rose herself. "What lady? Where?" "There, sir,"
Lady.
replied the boy, pointing to the glass door leading into the surgery, with an expression of alarm, which the very unusual apparition of a customer might have tended to excite. The surgeon looked towards the door, and
I don't know why I'm
started
leaning into this
himself,
weird
for
bowling
an
look for him,
instant,
but I don't know.
on
Let me look at the
beholding the
shoes.
appearance of his unlooked-for visitor. It was a singularly tall woman, dressed in deep mourning, and standing so close to the door that her face almost touched
Oh
the
yeah,
glass.
this feels
The
like
upper
it
part
won't
of her
fit. Hold
figure
on.
was carefully muffled in a
simplify him
black
quite a bit.
shawl, as if for the purpose of concealment, and her face was shrouded by a thick black veil. She stood perfectly erect.
Hey,
Her
naps
figure
and
was drawn
stars.
up to
I'm
its full
drawing
height,
as always.
and though the surgeon felt that the eyes
It's gonna be a
beneath
short
the
stream
veil
today
were
since I
fixed
worked
on him,
all day and then I
she
work
stood
tomorrow.
perfectly motionless, and evinced, by no gesture whatever, the slightest consciousness of his having turned towards her. "Do you wish to consult me?" he inquired, with some hesitation,
I am drawing
holding open the
Bo
door.
and
It opened inwards,
Henry
and
Wyatt over here
therefore
from
the
Lisa the
action did not
Painful
alter the
in their
position
disdainful
of the
version,
figure,
so
which
not
still
mutated
remained
and not
motionless
completely
on the
covered
same
in whatever the
spot.
frick that is.
She slightly inclined her head in token
Yep,
of
I'm drawing the
acquiescence.
brothers.
"Pray,
Alright, let me
walk
see
in,"
here. I'm looking
said
at
the
these
surgeon.
bowling shoes and their design.
The figure moved a step forward, and then, turning its head in the direction of the boy, to his infinite horror, appeared to hesitate. "Leave the room, Tom," said the young man, addressing the boy, whose large round eyes had been extended to their utmost width during this brief interview. "Draw the curtain and
Man,
shut
my
the door."
hands are shaky as shit today. I'm not
The boy
even...
drew a green curtain across the
Oh, well,
glass
it's
part
fine.
of the door, retired into
Not
the
every
surgery,
picture has to be a complete
closed the
banger.
door after him, and
Sometimes you just gotta
immediately
do what you
applied
feel
one
like.
of his large eyes to the keyhole on the other side. The surgeon
Anyway, we
drew
got
a
a couple
chair
of
to the
boosty
fire
boys.
and motioned the visitor to a seat.
Some messy
The
ass hair.
mysterious figure slowly moved towards it. As the blaze shone
They
upon
both
the
got
black
me.
dress,
They both got the
the
fuck me
surgeon
up hair.
observed that the bottom of it was saturated with mud and rain. "You are very wet,"
So
he
cute.
said. "I am," said the stranger, in a low, deep voice.
Okay, but I gotta bring him
"And
down a
you
bit.
are ill," added the surgeon, compassionately, for the tone was that of a person in pain. "I am," was the reply. "Very ill. Not
Bring your
bodily,
ass down
but
just a
mentally.
hair.
It is not for myself, or on my own behalf," continued the stranger,
There we go.
"that I come to you. If I laboured under bodily disease, I should not
Let me
be out
fix those
alone
fucked up
at such
feet you
an
got
hour,
going there, Bo.
or on such a night as this. And
I
if
drew
I
up a
were
line in a way.
afflicted with it 24 hours hence, God knows how gladly I would lie down and pray to die. It is for another that I beseech your aid, sir. I may be mad to ask it for him. I think I am. But night after night, through the long, dreary hours of watching and weeping, the thought has been ever present to my mind. And though even I see the hopelessness of human assistance availing him, the bare thought of laying him in his grave without it makes my
Black
blood
veil
run
shirt.
cold.
Okay, I was about to say, what's this called again?
And a shudder, such as the surgeon well knew art could not produce, trembled through the speaker's frame. There was a desperate earnestness
go.
in this
There's
woman's
the
manner
boys.
that went to the young
And
man's
I don't know what
heart.
skin color
He was young in his
Bo
profession,
would be,
and
but
had
I'm
not
assuming
yet
it's the same as
witnessed
his
enough of
brothers.
the miseries which are daily presented before the eyes of its members to have grown comparatively callous to human suffering. If, he said, rising hastily, the person of whom you
How the
speak
boys look.
be in so hopeless a condition as you describe, not a moment is to be lost. I will go with you instantly. Why did you not obtain medical advice before? Because it would have been useless before. Because
yeah.
it is useless even now, replied the woman, clasping her hands passionately. The
Passionately
surgeon
grasping her
gazed
hands.
for a moment on the black veil, as if to ascertain the expression of the features beneath it. Its thickness, however, rendered such a result impossible. You are ill, he said gently, although you do not know it. The fever which has enabled you to bear, without feeling it, the fatigue you have evidently undergone, is burning within you now. Put that to your lips, he continued, pouring out a glass of water.
To your lips.
Compose yourself for a few moments, and then tell me, as calmly as you can, what the disease of the patient is, and how
Not for
long he has
some
been ill. When I know what it is necessary I should know, to render my visit serviceable to him, I am ready to accompany you. The
Hell
stranger lifted the glass of water to her mouth, without raising the veil, put it down again
I personally
untasted,
think my writing style is
and
quite
burst
boring,
into
so
tears.
this is very entertaining
I know,
for me.
she said, sobbing aloud, that what I say to you now seems like the ravings of fever. I have been told so before, less kindly than by you. I am not a young woman, and they do say that as life steals on towards its final close, the last short remnant, worthless as it may seem to all beside, is dearer to its possessor than all the years that have gone before, connected though they be with the recollection of old friends long
Maybe
since
he's
dead,
just a yapper.
and young ones, children perhaps,
Maybe
who
he's
have
just a
fallen off
yappy
from
bastard.
and forgotten one as completely as if they had died too. My natural term of life cannot be many years longer, and should be dear on that account,
Wrong.
but I would lay it down without a sigh,
Wrong button.
with cheerfulness, with joy, if what I tell you now were
Yeah.
only false or imaginary. Tomorrow morning,
Okay,
he of whom I
deselect,
speak
and
will
I can just
be,
erase
I
the
know,
extra shit.
though I would fain think otherwise, beyond the reach of human aid.
Saving. Okay.
And yet tonight, though he is in deadly peril, you must not see, and
Oh.
could not serve him.
I am a mother.
I am unwilling to increase your distress, said the surgeon,
The yapper.
after a short pause, by making any comment on what you have just said, or appearing desirous to investigate a subject you are so anxious to conceal. But there is an inconsistency in your statement which I cannot reconcile with probability. This person is dying tonight, and I cannot see him when my assistance might possibly avail. You apprehend it will be useless tomorrow, and yet you would have me see him then. If he be indeed as dear to you as your words and manner would imply, why not try to save his life before delay, and the progress of his disease render it impracticable?
Impracticable.
God help me, exclaimed the woman, weeping bitterly. How can I hope strangers will believe what appears incredible, even to myself? You will not see him then, sir, she added, rising suddenly.
Nice.
I did not say that I declined to see him, replied the surgeon, but I warn you that if you persist in this extraordinary procrastination and the individual dies, a fearful responsibility rests with you. The responsibility will rest heavily somewhere, replied the stranger bitterly.
Yeah,
Whatever
he's looking pretty cute.
responsibility rests
He's
with
looking pretty
me,
cute.
I am content to bear.
At least
and
when you get
ready
their
to
flat
answer.
colors in.
As I incur none, continued the surgeon, by acceding to your request, I will see him in the morning, if you leave me the address. At what hour can he be seen?
Yeah, we'll probably call the stream
9,
after this
replied
video,
the
and I get the
stranger.
little flat colors in
You
at
must
least.
excuse my pressing these
Because
inquiries.
I'm tired. I
said
gotta
the
go to bed
surgeon.
pretty early.
But
I
is
get to
he
go
in
to
your
work an hour
charge
later
now?
tomorrow, which is nice.
He is not,
But I still gotta go to
was
bed
the
pretty early,
rejoinder.
so.
Then,
That
if I
instead of
gave
getting
you
up at
instructions for
5:30 in
his
the morning, I
treatment
get to
through
get
the
up at
night,
6:30
you
in the
could not
morning.
assist him.
Hooray!
The woman wept bitterly as she replied, I could not.
Alright.
Finding that there was but little prospect of obtaining more information
this is
by
not there. There we
prolonging
go.
the interview, and
Look
anxious
at
to
that
spare
hair.
the woman's
These
feelings,
boys,
which,
they part of
subdued
the
at
men's hair
first
club,
by
and
a
they didn't even
violent
need
effort,
to
were
audition.
now irrepressible and most painful to witness. The surgeon repeated
I
his
think
promise
his
of
shirt was
calling in
like
the
kind of
morning
reddish, but
at
like
the
a teeny
appointed
bit more
hour.
salmon.
His visitor,
Like I said, I can always
after
change
giving
the
him a
colors out later
direction
as
to an
needed.
obscure part of Walworth, left the house in the same mysterious manner in which she had entered it. It will be readily believed that so extraordinary a visit
Man, I
produced
had a thought the other day, and
considerable
then I thought,
impression
no.
on the mind of the
Like,
young
you ever
surgeon,
have like a kind of
and
a
that he
wishful thought, and then
speculated a
you
great
think about it
deal,
again, you're like, no, I
and to
don't want
very
that
little
after all.
purpose on the possible
A couple of
circumstances
times
of
I've
the
thought,
case.
I kind of wish my streams would
In
get the
common
numbers
with
they
the
used to, but at the
generality
same
of
time,
people,
no,
he had
no,
often
I don't want
heard
that.
and read of singular
Like,
instances
it'd be cool to be one of
in
those
which
streamers
a
of like
presentiment
100,000
of
whatever
death
people
at a
watching again,
particular
but
day, or
then
even
I think about it,
minute,
and I'm like,
had
no,
been
no,
entertained
I'm
and
good. I
realized.
don't want that, actually.
At one moment he was inclined to think that the
I'm fine with
present
it
might
being
be
20
such
and
a
under
case,
people here, because,
but then
like,
it occurred to him that all the
God,
anecdotes
I
of the
could barely
kind
keep
he
up
had
whenever
ever
we have more
heard
than 10 people
were
in
of
chat.
persons who had been troubled with a foreboding of their
Like,
own
part of me
death.
thinks, oh, that'd be cool to have
This
my
woman,
streams
however,
blow up again like they
spoke
used
of
to,
another
but at the same
person,
time,
a man,
no, I don't
and
actually
it
want
was
that at
impossible
all.
to suppose that a mere dream or delusion
No,
of fancy
I'm
would
good.
induce her to speak of his approaching
Oof.
dissolution
Yeah,
with
it's
such
pretty
terrible
blackish
certainty
red.
as she had spoken.
I'm gonna darken it
It
just a
could
little
not
bit. I'm
be
gonna
that the
keep that
man
little bit
was
of
to be
red undertone to
murdered
it.
in the morning,
Make that for both of
and
their
that the
pants.
woman, originally a consenting party and bound to secrecy by an
Like
oath,
I
had
said, part of me is
relented,
like, that'd be cool
and
to have a
though
big
unable
popular
to prevent
stream
the
again,
commission
but at the
of
same
some
time,
outrage on the
no.
victim, had determined to
No,
prevent his
I'm
death,
good.
if possible, by the timely interposition of medical aid.
Ugh.
The idea of
Like,
such
the
things
thought of that many
happening
people
within
showing
2
up again
miles
is
of the
kind of
metropolis
fucking scary
appeared
to me,
too
I'm not gonna
wild
lie.
and preposterous to be entertained beyond the instant.
I'm
Then
gonna go a
his
little more
original
vibrant.
impression
Okay.
that the woman's intellects were disordered recurred, and as it was the only mode of solving the difficulty with any degree of
Yeah, it's like,
satisfaction, he obstinately made up his mind to believe that she was
yeah,
mad.
like I said,
Certain
I
misgivings
personally would
upon
like
this
this.
point,
I would like a
however,
few more people
stole
watching
upon
the
his
stream,
thoughts
like
at the time,
maybe
and
10
presented
more,
themselves
10
again
more
and
on
again
average.
through the long, dull course
But
of a
I don't
sleepless
want
night,
more than like 20 or
during
30
which,
people
in spite of
watching
all
my
his
stream, because
efforts to the
God, I would get
contrary,
so
he was
nervous.
unable to banish
I'd
the
get so
black
nervous and
veil from his
overstimulated, and I'd feel
disturbed
bad for missing the
imagination.
chat. Like, the once
The
in a
back
while when
part
we
of
have a, I'm
Walworth,
gonna color
at
this in
its
anyway, it looks
greatest
better.
distance from
Once in a while
town,
when we have
is
a stream where it
straggling,
just, people get the
miserable place
notifications, they
enough,
catch it more,
even
and
in
we have
these
like
days.
more than 10 or
But
20
5
people
and
here.
30 years ago,
That
the
is
greater
fun,
portion
but
of
it
it
is
was
very
little better than a
overstimulating for me at
dreary
times.
waste, inhabited
Like, we
by a
used
few
to, back
scattered
in the early
people
Poppy
of
streams, we'd get
questionable character,
hundreds of
whose
people.
poverty
And
prevented
oh my
their
God,
living in
I
any
stayed
better
in character the
neighborhood,
whole time as
or whose
Poppy.
pursuits and
But
mode
holy
of life
crap, I
rendered
was
its
so
solitude
freaking nervous the
desirable.
whole time. I'm laughing and
Very
having a
many
great
of the
time and
houses
being in
which have
character.
since sprung up on
But I'm
all
like,
sides
holy crap,
were
there's
not
so many
built
people
until
here.
some
It
years
was freaking me
afterwards,
out.
and the great majority even of
God, my
those
throat
which
is
were
like clenching
sprinkled
right now
about
thinking
at
about it. And it's
irregular
like, oh
intervals
boy.
were of the rudest and most
Like,
miserable
thinking about it,
description.
just, oh
The
God, that was
appearance
so
of the
many
place
people, and
through
it
which
made
he
me
walked
upset.
in the morning was not
Because
calculated
I was
to
happy.
raise
I was
the
happy everybody was
spirits
having
of the
fun. I
young
liked having
surgeon,
a lot of
or
people
to
here
dispel any feeling of
having a great
anxiety or
time.
depression which the singular kind of visit he
But,
was about to
oh my
make
God, it
had
was so
awakened,
overwhelming at the same time.
striking
It's
off
just,
from the high road. His way
I could
lay
barely,
across a
I could barely
marshy
keep up, and
common,
it was
through irregular
overstimulating.
lanes,
I'm
with
very
here and there
much an
a
autistic
ruinous
woman,
and dismantled
and
cottage,
sometimes that
fast
stuff
falling
is
to
just,
pieces,
it's a little too
with
much for me.
decay and neglect.
That's all. It's just
A
too much for me
stunted tree
sometimes.
or pool of stagnant water,
I could probably
roused
get used to
into a
having that many
sluggish
people again
action
after
by
a
the heavy
while.
rain of the preceding night,
But,
skirted the
ooh.
path occasionally.
The thing is, I more or
Now
less
and
know
then,
how I could
a
do that.
miserable patch of garden
I more or less
ground
know how
with
I
a
could
few
get more
old
people on this
boards
stream.
knocked together for a summer
Just
house,
putting
and old
unique
palings
thumbnails,
imperfectly
tagging
mended
things a
with
little
stakes,
better,
pilfered from the
having a
neighbouring
consistent
hedges,
schedule, like stuff
bore
like that.
testimony at once to the
Writing a
poverty of
trend
the
or two, like that
inhabitants
would probably
and
blow
the
the
little
channel up
scruple
quite
they
a bit.
entertained in appropriating the
But at the
property
same
of
time,
other
it's like,
people
oh
to
man,
their
I
own use.
kind of don't want it.
Occasionally, a filthy-looking
Like, it's
woman
not that
would
hard
make
to
her
game the
appearance from the
algorithm
door
on
of a
YouTube and get
dirty
at least a
house
moderate
to empty
following.
the
If you have a
contents of some
at least a
cooking
decent-ish
utensil into the
personality
gutter
and
in
you know how to
front,
work the
or
algorithm,
to scream
it's
after a
not
little
that hard to
slipshod
do. I
girl
did it without
who
really
had
trying
contrived
back
to
and when the
stagger
channel
a few
first blew
yards
up,
from the door
and then I
under
dropped
the weight
off
of a
and stuff.
sallow
I,
infant,
it's not that
almost
hard to
as
brute
big as
force your way
herself.
through the algorithm and
But
kind of blow
scarcely
up a
anything
channel.
was stirring around,
Like, there's
and
even
so much
nefarious
of the
ways to do it I would never
prospect as
consider
could be
because
faintly
fuck that.
traced through the cold, damp
It's
mist,
again, it's
which
not that
hung
hard to game
heavily
the
over
algorithm
it,
and be through it.
presented a
There's
lonely
videos on
and
how to do
dreary
it,
appearance, perfectly in
but at the
keeping
same
with
time,
the
it's like,
objects
oh
we have
my god,
described.
that'd be too
After
much responsibility
plodding
for
wearily
me.
through the mud and mire, making many inquiries for the place to which
I don't
he had
wanna.
been directed, and receiving as many contradictory and unsatisfactory replies in return, the young man at length arrived before the house which had been pointed out
I
to
wonder if I
him
can just
as the object of his
that on him.
destination. It
Yeah, I
was a
should probably
small,
just do
low building, 1 story above the ground, with even a more desolate and unpromising exterior than any he had yet passed. An old yellow
I don't want
curtain
to take
was
no
closely drawn
responsibility.
across the window
I can't be
upstairs,
responsible for all
and
these
the parlour
children coming
shutters
into my
were
chat.
closed, but not fastened.
That's another thing I like.
The house was detached
When I'm slightly
from any
less
other,
popular,
and as it stood
just
at
have
an
a,
angle of a
consistent
narrow lane, there
chat
was
of
no
people
other
that just hang out
habitation
here
in sight.
for long term, they're
When
usually
we say
adults.
that the surgeon hesitated and walked
Kids
a few
kind of come and
paces
go and pop
beyond the
around in
house
streams a
before
lot.
he could prevail upon
Adults
himself
tend
to
to stick
lift the
around a bit
knocker,
longer.
we say nothing that need raise a smile upon the
I'm
face
on
of
the
the
wrong there, but
boldest
that's fine.
reader.
It don't matter.
The police of London were a very different body in that
Yeah,
day.
and I'd rather have more
The
adults in my chat
isolated
because
position of
with
the
kids,
suburbs,
they're
when the
weird.
rage for building and the progress of improvement
You gotta watch your mouth
had
in
not
front
yet
of
begun
them.
to
You
connect
gotta
them with the main
tell them to
body
calm
of
the hell down
city
in chat
and its
sometimes. It's like,
environs,
eh.
rendered
I'm
many
not a
of them,
babysitter.
and this in particular, a place of resort for the worst
I'm a
and
YouTuber.
most
I'm not a
depraved
babysitter.
characters. Even the streets in the gayest parts of London were
Gay.
imperfectly lighted at that time. And
Gayest
such
parts of
places
London.
as these were left entirely
we
to
know
the
a gay
mercy
part of
the
London,
moon
all right.
and stars. The chances of detecting desperate characters, or of tracing them to their haunts, were thus rendered very few, and their offences naturally increased in boldness as the consciousness of comparative security became the more
I'm gonna
impressed
put
upon
these two
them
layers.
by
It's just gonna
daily
be his
experience.
shit over here.
Added to these considerations, it must be remembered that the young man had
Okay,
spent some
green.
time in the public hospitals of the metropolis,
Now I know I have
and
a
although
marker in
neither
here somewhere.
Burke nor Bishop had then gained a horrible
Alcohol marker.
notoriety,
There we go.
his own observation
Oh yeah,
might
that's
have
what I'm looking
suggested
for
to
here.
him how easily
Make
the
it a little more
atrocities to which
opaque.
the former
Yeah, see?
has since given his name might be committed. Be this as it may, whatever reflection made him hesitate, he did hesitate. But being a young man of strong mind and great personal courage, it was only for an instant. He stepped briskly back and knocked gently at the door. A low whispering was audible immediately afterwards, as if some person at the end of the passage were conversing stealthily with another on the landing above. It was succeeded by the noise of a pair of heavy boots upon the bare floor. The door chain was softly unfastened, the door opened, and a tall, ill-favoured man with black hair and a face, as the surgeon often declared afterwards, as pale and haggard as the countenance of any dead man he ever saw, presented himself. "Walk in, sir," he said in a low tone.
I'm just trying to get the,
The
like,
surgeon did
sizing
so,
and spacing right.
and the man, having secured the door again by the chain, led the way to a small back parlour at the extremity of the passage. "Am I in time?" "Too soon," replied the man. The surgeon turned hastily round, with a gesture of astonishment, not unmixed with alarm, which he found it impossible to repress. "If you'll step in here, sir," said the man, who had evidently noticed the action. "If you'll step in here, sir, you won't be detained 5 minutes, I assure you." The surgeon at once walked into the room. The man closed the door and left him alone. It was a little
No, that's the
cold
wrong angle.
room, with no other furniture than 2 deal chairs and a table of the same material. A handful of fire unguarded by any fender, was burning in the grate, which brought out the damp,
Gotta
if
be a
it served
diamond.
no more comfortable purpose, for the unwholesome moisture was stealing down the walls in long, slug-like tracks. The window, which was broken and patched in many places, looked into a small, enclosed piece of ground, almost covered with water.
Yeah, that works.
Not a sound was to be heard, either within the house or without. The young
See, look, he's
surgeon
got his
sat
little
down by
green
the
thing.
fireplace to await the result of his first professional visit.
Yeah, that's cute. There's probably a way
He
to
had
do
not
it like that, a
remained in
little
this
more
position
accurately,
many
but
minutes
I can't be
when the
bothered
noise
right
of
now.
some approaching vehicle struck his
Like,
ear.
that's why I cut him on a
It
different layer.
stopped. The street door was opened. A low talking succeeded, accompanied with a shuffling noise of footsteps, along the passage and on the stairs, as if 2 or 3 men were engaged in carrying some heavy body to the room above.
Bogworm was
The
asking me
creaking
some.
of the
Not Bogworm,
stairs, a few
like
seconds
Cupcakes was asking
afterwards,
something.
announced that the newcomers, having completed
Doop-a-doop-a-doo.
their
Okay.
task, whatever it was, were
Yeah,
leaving
no, I
the
don't want to take
house.
responsibility for a bigger
The door
channel.
was again closed, and the former silence
I mean,
was
shit.
restored.
Hold on. Let me check some.
Another 5 minutes had elapsed.
I'm already almost
and the
at 2
surgeon had
point.
resolved to
I mean,
explore the house
14.50,
in search
whatever.
of someone to whom he
1,450
might make his
subscribers. I'm
errand
almost
known.
there, and I'm like,
When the
oh
room
god, that's
door
too many.
opened, and his last
I know they
night's
aren't even all
visitor,
active,
dressed in exactly the
But at
same
the same time,
manner,
it's like,
with
whew.
the veil lowered as before, motioned him to advance.
I know you
The
was
singular
making a
height of her
mouthwashing
form,
reference, girl.
coupled with the
I got
circumstance
autism
of
too.
her
You think I
not
don't watch
speaking,
mouthwashing?
caused the idea to pass across his brain for an instant
I done
that it might
knows
be
it.
a man disguised in woman's attire. The hysteric sobs which
You
issued from
silly
beneath the
bobbit
veil,
worm.
and the convulsive attitude
You
of grief
silly
of the
little
whole
bitch.
figure, however, at once exposed the
I
absurdity
actually am pretty
of the
happy with the way
suspicion,
their little designs have
and
come
he
out. They're
hastily
cute.
followed. The woman led the way upstairs to the front room,
Alright, let me grab
and
some
paused
kind
at
of
the
a
door
whitish
to let him enter
color.
first.
No.
It was scantily furnished with an old deal box, a few chairs,
I got
and a
autism
tent
too. You think I
bedstead,
don't know the
without hangings
You
or
think I
cross
don't know
rails, which was
the
covered with
washing
a
of the
patchwork
mouth?
counterpane. The dim light admitted through the curtain, which he had noticed from the outside, rendered the objects in the room so indistinct, and communicated to all of them so uniform a hue, that he did
Long
not
tool.
at
There
first
we go.
perceive the
Mhm.
object on which his eye at once rested, when the woman rushed
What's
frantically
on this?
past
Okay,
him
okay, sure.
and flung herself on her knees by the bedside. Stretched upon the bed, closely enveloped in a linen wrapper and covered with blankets, lay a human form, stiff
shit.
and motionless. The head and face, which were those of a man, were uncovered,
I'll just
save
give
by
him
a
some black
bandage which
shoes
passed over the head
because-
and
Actually,
under
I'll
the
give him
chin.
black
The
shoes with
eyes were
some white
closed. The left arm
soles.
lay heavily across the bed, and the woman held the passive hand. The surgeon gently pushed the woman aside and took the hand in his.
Again, I'll
My
just go
God,
black for the shoes.
He exclaimed, letting it fall
his shoes,
involuntarily.
however.
The man is dead. The woman started to
A little
her
brighter
feet
green
and
because
beat her hands together.
reasons.
"Oh, don't say so, sir," she exclaimed, with a burst of passion amounting almost to frenzy. "Oh, don't say so, sir. I can't bear it. Men have been brought to life before, when unskilful people have given them up for lost, and men have died who might have been restored if proper means had been resorted to. Don't let him lie
All right,
here,
calm down
sir,
there,
without one effort
Herberto
to
West.
save him. This very moment life may be passing away. Do try, sir.
Calm down,
Do, for
Herberto
heaven's
West.
sake."
We get it. You want to bring the dead
And
back.
while speaking, she hurriedly chafed, first the forehead,
She
and then the
chafed.
breast of the senseless form before her, and then wildly beat the cold hands, which, when she ceased to hold them, fell listlessly and heavily back on the coverlet. "It is of no
Coverlet?
use, my good woman," said the surgeon soothingly, as he withdrew his hand from the man's breast. "Stay,
Breast.
undraw that curtain." "Why?" said the woman, starting up. "Undraw that curtain," repeated the surgeon in an agitated tone. "I darkened the room on purpose," said the woman, throwing herself before him as he rose
Yeah,
to
I really
undraw
do
it.
actually like these
"Oh,
designs.
sir,
They're very
have
cute.
pity on me. If it can be
I'm
of
happy
no
with
use
these.
and he is really dead,
I'm not always
do
happy
not
with my own
expose that
stuff, but
form to
this
other
time I
eyes
actually
than
I am.
mine. This
Sometimes
man
I draw
died
something
no
that I don't
natural
like it
or
later,
easy death,
but now I
said
do
the
like it.
surgeon. I must see the body. With a motion so sudden that the woman hardly knew that he had slipped from beside her, he tore open the curtain, admitted the full light of day, and returned to the bedside. There has been violence here, he said, pointing towards the body and gazing intently on the face, from which the black veil was now, for the first time, removed.
Yeah,
In
I
the
like the way these little
excitement of a
guys are
minute
coming out
before,
here.
the female had thrown off the bonnet and veil, and now stood with her eyes fixed upon him. Her features were those of a woman about 50.
These are my
who had
boys,
once
and they
been
are
handsome.
boosted.
Sorrow and weeping had left
Yeah,
traces upon
I'm
them,
happy with this.
which
I'm
not
actually
time
like,
itself
I'm
would ever
smiling.
have
This is a cute
produced without
design.
their aid. Her face was deadly pale, and there was a nervous contortion of the
I'm
lips.
gonna send this to one of
and
my
an
friends. Sorry
unnatural
for
fire
pinging you
in her
multiple
eye,
times, but I think you
which
need to see
showed
these
too
boys.
plainly that her bodily and
I
mental
don't care if you probably don't
powers
want to talk to me
had
right now.
nearly
You're seeing the
sunk
boys.
beneath an accumulation of misery. There has been violence here, said the surgeon, preserving his searching glance. There has, replied the woman. This man has been murdered. That I call God to witness he has, said the woman passionately. Pitilessly,
There we
inhumanly
go. We
murdered.
got some boys here.
By whom? Said the surgeon, seizing the woman by
We
the
got
arm.
boys.
Look at the butcher's marks, and then
They're
ask me,
boys.
she replied.
I send this to
The
Ellie
surgeon
Cupcakes,
turned
too,
his
so she
face
can
towards
have
the
the
bed
boys.
and bent over the body, which now lay full in the light of the window.
I am really happy
The
the way the
throat was
boys came out,
swollen,
man.
and a livid mark
you know what?
encircled
I do be liking
The
this.
truth flashed suddenly upon him.
They're so cute.
This is
I
one
love
of the
how
men who
fucking
were hanged
shaggy
this
and
morning.
scraggly
he
they kind of
exclaimed,
look like
turning away with
these
a
look like
shudder.
boys I'd be playing in a band
It
of
is,
two with their
replied the
one-string
woman
guitars.
with a cold, unmeaning stare.
So fucking cute.
Who was he?
I'll give him a little bit of
Inquired the
shine to his hair,
surgeon.
just a little.
My son,
My
rejoined the
son.
woman, and fell senseless at his feet. It was true. A companion, equally guilty with
These
himself,
boys.
had been acquitted for want of evidence.
The
and
boys
this
are back
man
in
had
town,
been left for
motherfuckers.
death and executed. To recount the circumstances
You can have
of
a
the
little more
case
shine
at
to your
this
hair,
distant
Wyatt.
period
I mean, not Wyatt.
must be
Henry.
unnecessary.
I keep forgetting
and
your name
might
is
give
Henry,
pain
not
to some
Wyatt.
person still alive.
Wyatt.
The history
You
was
could have
an
just a hair
everyday
more
one.
shininess to your hair.
The
Like you
mother
wash
was
yours a
widow
little more than your
without
brothers.
friends or money, and had
You don't
denied
brush
herself
yours, but you wash
necessaries
yours
to
more.
bestow them on her orphan boy. That boy, unmindful of her prayers and forgetful of the suffering she
And
had
like I said, I
endured
wanted
for
to
him,
keep his funky ass
incessant
shape.
anxiety of
Like
mind,
you could have just
involuntary
said, "Yep, this is
starvation
on top of his
body,
head." Like
had
I kind of
plunged
like
into
how
a
I
career of
imagine
dissipation
with
and crime.
freaking
And this was the result.
Geese Thompson.
His
I will
own
show that in a
death
minute.
By the hangman's hands, and his mother's
The way I
shame
draw Geese Thompson though
incurable
is I have it
insanity.
where he's got like the long crazy head thing, but it like
For
it
many
definitely sits
years
over his head and he
after this
takes it off when he's
occurrence,
killing
and
sometimes.
when profitable and arduous
Um,
avocations would have led many
But I like to
men
think that he's
forget
just
that
actually
such a
shaped like
miserable
that. I like
being
to think that
existed.
about
The young
Bo over here,
surgeon
that
was
he's
a
just
daily visitor
he
at the
is just a
side of the
long
harmless,
guy.
mad woman, not only soothing
That's
her by his
that's what I
presence
think.
and
I don't know
kindness,
why I just
but
realized
alleviating
Henry's
the
arms are
rigor of
slightly
her
too
condition
long.
by pecuniary donations
Oh well,
for her
it doesn't matter.
comfort and support,
It don't matter. None of this
bestowed
matters.
with no sparing hand. In the
I can always fix
transient
it later.
gleam of
Anyway, it's
recollection
fine.
and
It's fine.
consciousness which
Yeah, like
preceded her
he
death,
is just a
a
long
prayer for
boy.
his welfare and protection,
Like I
as
said,
fervent as mortal
my
ever
head
breathed,
canon for them is that
rose
he's
from
the
the
younger
lips of this
brother.
poor,
So
friendless
I'll put
creature.
another- so I don't forget my
That
own
prayer
shit.
flew
I
to
write.
heaven and was heard. The blessings he was
Like
instrumental in conferring
24.
have been
There you
repaid
go.
to him a
Little 5-year gap
thousandfold.
between them.
But amid all the honours of rank and station which have since been heaped upon him, and
They're so
which he has
cute.
so
I'm happy
well
with this,
earned,
man. I'm
he can have no reminiscence more gratifying to his heart than that
I'm happy with my
connected
boys.
with the black veil.
My boys are boosted. Yep, and that was the end of the book too.
Thank you for listening to The
That boy
Black
died.
Veil by Charles Dickens.
Ignore the noise you're about to hear. That's me going to be pulling up Locale Live.
Pet Panini.
Hell yeah, Wings of Redemption is hosting. Yeah, I'm happy with the way my guys came out here. They're so cute. I'm not over it. They're really cute. I'm happy with it. I'm happy. Yeah. Yeah, these are cute. I'm sorry. Like, they're making me smile. I don't know why. They're so fucking cute. Okay. All right, that's a good stopping point for tonight. It's 6 o'clock. I went for 2 hours, give or take a little. I gotta get ready for work tomorrow. Oh my god. Oh, I'm so tired already. I'm so freaking tired. Like I said, I don't foresee my schedule getting much lighter over the next few months because even we're hiring people, we're just really fucking busy. So I'm gonna see about doing these once in a while, or even if I'm back on my normal schedule, just doing yeah, you got back. We're finishing up soon, but you get to see the boys. You get to see my boosted boys here. Yeah. I'm really happy when they came out. Like, it feels like that. Like, that's what I want when I do all of these designs. Is even if it's an AU, then whatever. These are my dumbass headcanons. I want it to always still feel like you're, like, you take a look and you're like, you know that that's what that character's supposed to be. Like, you take one look, you know that's supposed to be Bo. That's obviously Henry. Like, that's the vibe I wanted to go for. To where, like, no matter how much they've changed, they don't have their helmets, whatever, like, even if they're off model, whatever, you know who they are by feel. That's what I go for with all of these designs, is no matter how much they've changed for, like, to fit the context of something, they still feel like that character. That's what I try to do with all my redesigns, headcanons, all of that stuff, is no matter how much little tiny things changed, I try to give them reason and have it feel like the character, no matter how many different variables there can be. Yeah. Some people would say that I'm a delusional idiot and don't know how to write at all or design characters, but to them I say, suck my dick, I'm having fun. This is my autism, not yours. So, yeah. Anyway, I'm really happy with these designs. I'm glad you guys came out to see the stream. I hope you had fun. And I plan to do, like I said, I plan to do at least another one or two of these at some point, because I need to stream more. Though, I don't know how much more Lisa stuff I'm going to be drawing for a little bit. I already announced on Twitter that I'm going to take a little bitty tiny break from Lisa's stuff so that I can work on Poppy videos for the channel. I mean, I have so many freaking models I built like last year, and I have scripts, I have ideas for videos, I have a lot of stuff I want and can do. I just have not had the time because I like too many different things. But like I said, as much as I still love Lisa stuff and want to keep drawing even more, I'm going to try and put it on the back burner for just a little bit so that I can work on doing more of this stuff, which is what I want. So yeah, I'm excited to start working on some more videos. Like I said, I miss doing the voicing stuff. Those were fun. So that is the current game plan, is take a little bitty break from doing Lisa stuff, maybe only one drawing a week or every couple of weeks with them. That sadly also means writing for Disdainful. I'm a little burnt out on writing, I will admit. My brain's just not in the functional ability for it right now to where I'm confident in my own writing anymore. I'll try not to take a 3-year hiatus like I did the last time that happened. The last time I was like burnt out, I didn't write on it for 3 years. I don't plan on taking that long. Maybe just another like month or so, and then I'll feel like it again and start writing like crazy. Sometimes it just gotta hit right in my brain. But right now my brain's telling me lock it and make a couple of Poppy videos because those will be fun. Then you guys have been asking for them, and I've been wanting to make them. I just, like I said, had too many interests going on at once. So, like I said, I'll be working on that. But yeah, thank you guys for coming out. And like I said, if I do start working on Poppy videos and start doing the models and stuff like that, I might stream that too, just so you guys could get like behind this. You know what? You know what would be kind of interesting? Okay, people in my chat that are members. All, like, however many of you there are. Channel members. Bobbit and Ellie, I know. Bobbit, Ellie, whoever gets my free memberships every month. All you guys, I want your opinion. Would you guys be in to members only streams where only you guys can see what's going down, and like, you get to see me actually work on videos and projects? Would you guys be into that at some point? Because I know the only perks y'all really get right now is you can see videos that are not public on the channel anymore, and you get emojis. That's about the only perks you get. I'm like, you could have more, definitely. But yeah. Would you guys be into that kind of thing? I've wanted to do members only streams every now and then. But it's like, what would I even stream to you guys? It wouldn't be just the usual shizzle I do. But yeah, I think that'd be fun. Yeah, like I said, I'll look into that once I start getting some stuff for Poppy videos ready. Like, something to actually show you guys. Maybe I'll do that, like a little short members only stream every now and then. And I just show you what I'm working on. Like, I might not even have the audio on talking that much. I might just throw on some whatever in the background and you can just watch me quietly work, or I can talk to you. Either's fine. We'll figure something out. Like I said, I want to give you guys something for supporting every month. I mean, hold on, let me check something real quick. Checking, like, how many members do I actually have? I actually have more than I always think I do. Like, I always think, I don't have that many members, and then I look and I'm like, oh, I have more than I thought. At the moment, I have eight or 9 members or something like that. Sometimes I have more, sometimes I have less. It just depends. But yeah. I mean, I think, like I said, even if there's only like 8 or 9 of you guys, I think that you'd enjoy a members only type stream thing. Maybe at like weird hours, or even, I don't know, like early in the morning, I just get up and start working on shit on my rare days off. Anyway, hopefully you guys would be into that kind of thing. So, we'll see. I'll see what I can do. Anywho. Yeah, sorry I keep getting distracted. But, yeah, like I said, this was a fun stream. Thank you guys for coming out. Look at my little beautiful boosted boys over here. So cute. So freaking cute. So cute. Anyway, thank you all for coming out. I've been your host, Ynnep, and I will see you guys in the next video. Laters, and bye-bye.
Want to add a couple inches on your gun? Watch Ynnep-Chan on Slayer Sunday. Like, comment, and subscribe to Ynnep-Chan. You could win 1,000,000 donuts. You could.